And that's the thing, I think, Dabston. We've seen aggression from every team, right? Even the Elephant Boys that look for that later phase of the game, and especially from these two teams, Kosas, Pasan, you'd come to expect it of Vortex and Lucifron, and gotta give Free DEDA the credit where it's due. Yesterday, their series, suffocating. They did not leave any space in any of those games.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both of these teams are ones that wouldn't be too surprised to see some under 20-minute games. Definitely from KQP. I feel like their average game time might be 5 to 10 minutes quicker than the rest of the field out there, and just known for those timing attacks. Going to attack with both armies together and kind of single out an opponent if they can.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think about Crackety because obviously people don't practice 2v2 as much, and something that I think Vortex and Lucifron have been renowned for in the past is their ability to iterate rapidly. Right, that was something that especially was useful when we had the Golden League because we had those different rule sets, and something that everyone else highlighted is these Spanish boys seem to be a mile ahead on finding new builds.
Yeah, exactly. Just being able to get so many practice games in with a relative, I think that's also a big plus for the Canadians. Now in 2v2, finding practice partners can be a little bit more challenging, but being able to just reiterate and able to just have a lot of strategic talks like with your teammate can make strategic thinking much better.
And I'm loving the look of this draft. We might get some Archipelago. What do you think, Dabston? Do we need to go 5 games to see it in this series?
I could see it getting picked a little bit earlier than the fifth game, especially with some of the other maps. You got Scandinavia, you got Cliffside, you got Baldlands, not some of I would say the typical dry Arabia that we're starting on. So I'm gonna go with Archipelago, gonna be in the first three.
I wonder if that was a free DEDA pick, because Kraken knows where I'm going with this. B in particular likes to drop off fish manually at locations. I wonder if maybe a Chinese pick comes in there.
Could be, could be. I mean, something that I've noticed, at least in the 1v1 portion of Archipelago, is that there isn't actually that much deep sea fish to go around. So being able to increase the amount of food that you get with a drop-off through that method with a mill and Imperial Official on the shoreline would benefit quite a bit.
I'll have to see if that comes up as we get there. But we open up with a very interesting combo here. Usually arch enemies, Jean and Delhi on the same side for free DEDA. For Kosas Pasan, they are going to keep it El Clasico, as we know they would. English lightly in the hands of Vortex, Lucifron, possible in the HRE, or we mix it around. Either way, I'm expecting a bloodbath because neither one of these two teams knows how to sit on their ass for 10 minutes and boom. So it's time to begin our explosive semifinals. Game number 1, and it begins on Dry Arabia.
All right, let's jump right into our first set here. 3DB and Anatant playing as teal and blue. We got John Dark and the Delhi. On the other hand side, the Spanish team, Vortex and Lucifron, orange and red, English and the HRE.
Yeah, and so now gonna see, some of those early scouting patterns, gonna see how the sheep count goes. Some of these civs are a little bit more sheep heavy than the others, so wouldn't be too surprised to see Vortex handing off some sheep over there to his brother. And same thing goes for Anatan, maybe handing some off to B on the other side.
First upgrades already clicked for the Delhi. These, of course, do come in for free. Such a dangerous thing with the Delhi always in the game. Whenever you do suddenly see the Delhi player age up, you already know that a lot of technologies are going to be clicked for free instantly. So if there's ever a timing where Delhi just becomes a lot more dangerous is when they age up from feudal age to the castle age.
Yeah, it kind of feels crazy. Just some of those little small changes with scholars being so cheap, it really just allows them to stack up that scholar count while still playing feudal age. They're known for their feudal age, taking the sacred sites, and then all of a sudden, it's what 10,000 resources they're getting for free once they hit castle. Maybe not 10, but feels like it at times.
Definitely a lot of them, and they come in really quickly as well. New Dome of the Faith, I say new, but it's been reiterated time and time again, has had a lot of changes in the past, and currently it's just able to produce the scholars quick and cheap, as you mentioned, and that means nowadays you can find yourself in situations where you age up to feudal age, and by the time you leave feudal age, you're up by like 14, 15 scholars already. Age up's now coming in, Archon Chapel for Lucifron with the HRE. Not on the wood line, but is going to be able to supervise both the food as well as the gold. And That's a big decision here. Going for the Ark and Chapel on the gold instead of on the wood kind of tells a story of how Lucifer wants to play this. This kind of tells a story that he might want to go for a fast Castle Age behind this and not a all-in Feudal Age play. Because if you do an all-age Feudal Age play, you would usually put the Ark and Chapel next to a wood line to get those production buildings out. Probably not necessary, considering that you do have Vortex playing as the English, and longbows are a very good defensive unit.
Yeah, I mean, I still kind of think I lean into your first point where with you having the chapel around gold and food, it's the two resources you need for Castle Age. You'd still want, a lot of early wood for production buildings, even if you're not going archers. Meanwhile, we see Vortex, like you mentioned, Council Hall, no king coming out this game, and going ahead and starting with those 2 farms next to the TC too.
Yeah, nice little double farm opening means that his food transition is going to be coming in very smooth, no stuttery income there from him. Pretty much always going to have enough food to get villagers and units out. More farms coming in on top of that. Very nice economy there behind that with the English. School of Cavalry on the other hand side, no surprise, Dome of the Faith as well. Looking at the markets, the markets aren't in the greatest spot, but that's where you have an ally for potentially. Like, something that's very nice with both French and Jeanne d'Arc is that if they fall behind in economy to like another player, they don't need to add another TC. They can just go into trade.
Yeah, and that's actually where you'll see French and Jay play this a lot with, especially people who know the team game meta. It isn't always them dropping TCs. It's usually dropping a couple markets and starting in trade behind, especially having that Civ that usually takes that map control, has some aggression with the early knights. And doubling down on that exact thing we mentioned earlier, Fast Castle is exactly what we would expect from Lucifron, seeing an outpost with arrow slits being invested into on his gold as well.
Yeah, now there are a couple of nuances with that. When you're playing up against the Delhi, going for Fast Castle Age means that at least for, like, there's going to be a 1 to 2 minute window where you're going to completely forfeit map control. Like, map control is going to be in the hands of the Delhi, and Anaton is very good with them. So we're probably going to see a timing, like 7 minutes in, where we're suddenly going to hear 3 bells just ringing, and all 3 sacred sites are going to get captured at the same time.
Yeah, and this is always that kind of big thing that you're giving up if you're going to play that greedy play and go Castle Age, especially if your teammate has a Civ such as the English that can't really move out on the map. Going out with some longbows could just be a game ender, moving out with your army early when you're the only one making military. So very, very conservative builds that Vortex and Lucifron have early on. Or not necessarily conservative, but not moving out at all.
Pro Scouts has come in for 3DB, so we are seeing some deer being carried over to his own base. He did, as a turn, like, as a trade-off, he did send a lot of sheep over to Anaton. So Anaton's base right now, there are a lot of sheep sitting there.
And you can see Lucifron trying to push some sheep out and about, but like we just had talked about, those Pro Scouts are just going to pick those up. So the deer spread doesn't matter like it does in other matchups.
Something that it does do, if you've already shift-clicked onto the deer, if you actually kill them, the shift-click command is going to go away, so you're going to have to retarget those deer with your scouts. Reckness Cathedral now going to be coming in for Lucifron. Only a single scholar still sitting, prelate rather, still sitting inside the Archon Chapel. So no move out yet at this point in time. We are seeing the stable getting prepped or cancelled and maybe re-prepped again a couple tiles further out.
Yeah, did not want it in the chapel range of the farms that you... Oh, speaking of, there's already a house taking over a nice little spot there. But stable, it's going to be the night play from Lucifron. He wants to be able to retake that map control that we talked about that they are giving up. And now that we say that, Anatan pumping the archers to combine with B's Royal Knights.
Royal Knight and Archer play here, that's definitely what they're going to need up against the army that Vortex has as well. Looking at Vortex, he doesn't have that many military units out at all right now, so I'm guessing he probably has gotten every single economic upgrade that he can get.
Yeah, and you can see efficient productions working its best. JD going with the couple shots and usually want to go with her abilities. The nice old arrow to finish off the villager, but was not able to get it out in time. Gold is being denied for the time being right after Lucifron's age up finishes.
Yeah, second scholar, Prelate again, has come out for Lucifron, but no relics on their way back yet at this point in time. army from Vortex is gonna walk around now to his brother's base, and he will want to at least buy a little bit of room for his brother to start getting some of those relics in first sacred site. Capture is coming in now behind all of this, so soon we're gonna see Delhi just get a lot of gold influx in there as well. First sacred site came in, second one about to be captured up as well. Just a scout right now being there and making sure the cap isn't gonna be coming in as quickly as it could. Another scout once again, and there, like, this is actually a lot of value right now, just being able to deny this capture for like a couple more seconds, like half a minute more, means that your opponent's gonna lose out on like 100 gold.
And now we see Lucifron sniping out JD with his knight. But 3DB is coming, uses the heal. JD gets sniped on out, but at least gets a decent amount of return damage. Lucifron, knowing him, will end up pulling that lower health knight back later on and having a prelate heal it back up to full.
Archers now coming in as well, though, and suddenly this isn't really a fight that Kosas and Pasan can take. And there we go, a lot of spearmen are going down. Prelates are getting sniped out as they try and take the relic.
Yeah, and the English army moves out a little bit too early, like we had talked about. Not enough spears there, not enough knights to be that front line, and units starting to fall rather quickly. 3DB and Anatan have a huge army mass, a huge army lead, as well as the sacred sites behind it.
Yeah, 3 sacred sites. That's roughly 10 villagers worth of income right now that Anatan is getting for free at this point in time. They got all the map control as well, so Pro Scouts is going to mean that there's not going to be a farm transition necessary for either of these players for a long time into this game. And we can see Anatan already up to 10 scholars, 2 more in the queue. So if we see an age up coming in for him, mind you, every single upgrade that he gets is going to take like a minute for them in Castle Age to come in.
Yeah, and he has done the correct move, starting to make his own spears, knowing that Lucifron's knights could be the kind of difference maker in this middle parts of the game. So has a defensive unit to allow 3DB to continue the aggression forward, continue this denial, able to start diving Lucifron's base, and they are on the full dive here, going into Town Center fire, going into TC fire, but deciding to pull back now.
Have managed to pick off a villager there, but yeah, so far will have to fall back for the time being. Vortex, I mean, he's massing units, but it just doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't feel like he can really keep up with the mass that Anatan is pumping out right now. 10 longbows compared to 30 archers, and spearman-wise, he's also getting outmassed right now. This is looking dire right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one that the map control given up, and 3DB and Anatan have so much tempo. I think this fast castle play has now secured 0 relics, if I'm counting correctly. I don't think I've seen any actually be able to get pulled on back, but as I say that, we see the first relic start to get taken. A nice old military escort kills one of 3DB's knights, and the first prelate bringing the first relic back.
Anatan now, though, pulling his entire army over as well. That's a lot of archers. Doesn't do a lot of damage to these Castle Age Knights, but doesn't need to. He does have the Spearmen, and they're going to be able to deal with that. And in the meantime, B, with just a couple of his own Knights, able to once again deny the relic.
It was not escorted for long enough, but does end up losing a villager on the woodline. Lucifron trying to get some return damage in the economy. Knights starting to charge each other, and 3DB, while he has the significant amount of numbers here, Lucifron has the higher tech value here with the Castle Age upgraded Knights. And it looks like 3DB and Anatan are starting to pull back, at least for the time being.
Pulling back for now, yeah, but now House of Learning is going to be coming in. Another prelate tries to get a relic back home. One knight
No
on a
way!
mission gets the charge in, and a prelate once again gets denied the relic.
This is just so demoralizing for the Spanish brothers. It's now 12 minutes into the game. I think Lucifron's castle finished about 7 minutes, and he still doesn't have a relic to speak for.
Yeah, this is an issue as well. Like, for every single sacred site that your opponent has, you want to get at least one relic in. So far, not a single relic contested. At least one of the sacred sites got decapped now. But this still feels so rough because Anatan, look at the minimap. I think I already see a lot of little teal dots. I think these are scholars moving out to the individual relics. on the map. Never mind, that's just normal military units. But there we go. Now the scholars are coming out to play. They're all getting split up onto the individual relics. We're gonna see a lot of pickoffs coming in here shortly, together with a lot of upgrades being researched.
Yeah, and this is the timing that we wanted, that we kind of were mentioning in this pregame about Delhi, where all of a sudden you blink, they go castle with the highest unit mass in the game as far as their military, and all the upgrades are going to come through. Knights charging against each other, JD here in support, and this time it's 3DB escorting Anatan with the relic on home.
JD is going to snack up some experience here on these knights as they get pinched, but the relic will get denied for the time being. Now, though, Anaton's military is coming through, and I can imagine that veterancy is going to be coming in very shortly. A snipe on Jean d'Arc. Coming just in time. Actually, veterancy still... it's 30 seconds. It's 30 seconds. It's coming in quite quickly.
Yeah, and that's, you know, keep in mind he did move out with 5 scholars for those relics. So of the 14 scholars, not all of them are inside the mosques or the Dome of the Faith. So it could be coming in even quicker than it already is. And another relic has been sniped out. We see that we now have 2 relics secured for the HRE. And the King's Palace
now coming in for Vortex. So he's going to get a nice little economy lead here. Villager count neck and neck right now between the two. I can't help but feel like Anaton not taking any villager losses with the superior just raw income that he gets as the Delhi and the free upgrades. It can snowball really quickly. And we can tell, like, look at the military count. 40 from Vortex, 65 from Anaton, and Anaton's got Castle Age behind that.
Yeah, Anatan has more military than the Spanish brothers combined. Obviously, he doesn't have the value with no knights himself, but I mean, it's just scary, the mass he's being able to build up. B now dropping the Royal Institute, so most likely going to go with this timing, wait for their royal bloodlines to finish on up, and go with a big dive and force the big fight.
Vortex and Lucifron, they're on a massive timer here right now, because not only do they not have map control, but they need access to gold here at some point in time. They didn't manage to secure as many relics as they need to be completely gold independent. And right now, the majority of the map control is just being held by the 3 DEDAs.
Oh, we do see the wolf gets spotted out in time. Villager just went down to half health. Good job with the split cam we had going on over there. And this is again where the militaries are just kind of gonna stare at each other for a little bit. B and Anatan want to wait for the upgrades, and Anatan also walling the whole map. This is when elephants become that much more effective, but a good return raid from Lucifron. B thought about pulling out the shivs because those knights are quite low health, but there's a few spears here that should be able to clean it up.
So only a couple of villager kills secured there, but every little bit counts right now. First elephant has just been put on the field by Anaton. Couple of knights trying to go for a raid. Vortex, is he going to realize in time? Might lose a villager here. Villager goes down. Second villager goes down.
Scout goes down.
Run into the TC.
Yeah, no textiles here just means those knights are able to take down villagers so quick, melting like butter. Finally, knights get cleaned up on the backside by those spears that had been chasing. And Lucifron's still sitting on 2 relics. I believe Anatan got every single other one.
Definitely feels like at the moment. There we go. Another relic gets returned.
Yep.
3 there as well. Yeah, 5 relics in for Anatan. 400 gold per minute from the relics. An additional 250 gold per minute from the sacred sites. That's a lot of gold that you get absolutely free, like just passively. I wouldn't be surprised if Anatan just goes for Imperial Age behind this. Another issue that we have is B. He went up with the Royal Institute. He's got 26 knights on the field. Royal bloodlines and veterancy on those knights. That is not going to be an army that you want to fight at all in any situation. Lucifron just can't contribute as much army-wise to a fight than B can.
Yeah, and Anatan's going to have a huge support of a ranged mass, but not only the ranged mass, also will have a few of those elephants himself to be that supportive front line. So any head-on engagement just feels like it's going to just fully swing in the favor of Team 3 DEDA.
Both players right now, they're grouping up. There's no outpost from Vortex here, though, so don't think he's gonna have the aura if it actually comes to a fight. And fight is about to happen now. Couple of crossbows in for Vortex as well, but the army count just not really comparable at this point in time. Looks like the 3 Deadas are gonna back off for the time being, though. They don't really need to at the moment, but it is still a tough situation to judge just how much ahead you are at the moment. There is an economic lead when it comes to the villagers that is starting to manifest for Kosas and Pasan. I just don't think that you can really find the timing against a civilization like Delhi here to make use of that.
Yeah, JD still doesn't have that level up. The big problem with JD here is it's so easy to snipe her out once you have that huge longbow mass, that huge crossbow mass. She really feels like she can't step up, is kind of in this chokehold on the backside. We saw Royal Bloodlines was still coming in, but now should be finished up. And Team 3 DEDA should feel comfortable now taking this next fight.
Yeah, scholars are getting pulled. Anton just pulled a lot of his scholars there to the front line as well, and it looks like we are going to be seeing the big fight happening any moment now.
Spears running through, always scary when you run past the wall. You can get circled around on the backside. 3DB, Anatan ready to take the fight. Knights circling. Elephants just taking the head-on engagement, and Spears closing the gap. This fight is finally the one we wanted, and it should be going heavily in the favor of 3 DEDA.
Mass already looking thin here for Vortex. Only 9 crossbows remaining. Elephant still completely alive, full HP as well. Scholars just doing such a great job at healing those units back up. Half the military gone now from Vortex and Lucifron. And this big lead doesn't look to be going away anytime soon. Bia and Anton now in a prime position to just push on through into the base of Lucifron.
Yep, JD got her upgrade through, a little bit tankier, and I feel like B gained knights during that fight. He's reinforcing faster than he's losing them, and you can just see the numbers tilting heavily in the favor of 3 DEDA. I don't know if we will get to the 20-minute mark. This is looking like this could be the game decider.
It's on you, JV, as well, and GG gets called with that cleave that took out 5 villagers in one fell swoop. Game number 1 going over to the 3 Deadas in an insane starting match. After a series where, when we remember, this is the team that took down Beastie and Marine Lord. Now, 1 point behind on the scoreboard against the 3 Deadas.
Yeah, and it just felt like they couldn't really ever get that map control back. We saw from the placement of where the chapel was what the plan was for the Spanish brothers, and just never were able to get map control, never were able to get the HRE online with relics.
And you can look at the military value lead there, just this big clump of red there on the chart, and that kind of tells us a big story here about how this game went in the end. Just this huge military mass. B and Anton not going for that fast castle age. I think Vortex maybe went a little bit too greedy on the economic upgrades. Wasn't able to provide enough units here for his ally Lucifron to get relics under his control early on.
Yeah, 1TC English just feels so underwhelming at times. If you move out with your army just a little bit too early, you get cleaned up and you just feel like you can never mass up. You're so far behind. We're seeing a little bit of that scout annoyance on the sacred sites, just doing that early delay, which does a lot more than you think. Good snipe on JD here as well from Lucifron early on, but even with these little all smaller things, we can just see still at the top where the military lead was already starting to tilt.
Yeah, I feel like this was kind of like the tipping point when all 3 sacred sites got captured. Not enough units out from Vortex now to start denying that. Ever since that point, Delhi just kind of started snowballing more and more. And Johan back coming in with the 10 gifted subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated. Helps us out a ton.
JD able to slowly soak up some XP during these fights before getting sniped on out. And there's so many times in team games where you will see JD get to this point like this where she can never get to level 3 because she steps up, she gets sniped out immediately. But a really good job by the next fight. 3DB was able to get her level 3, able to get her online, and it wasn't just her, it was the whole mass.
Exactly. Here, the big fight, mass of elephants, 4 elephants at the front line. Only a single one of them did go down in this engagement. There was a big clump of scholars there as well at the front line, just making sure that they're going to stay nice and healthy between all of these little scuffles that were coming in. Just not enough crossbows from Vortex to be able to really start one-shotting these elephants. Or, well, you can't really ever one-shot elephants, but, like, kill them in just fewer volleys overall. And after the end of that fight, most of the bodies remaining on the battlefield, they were red and orange.
Yeah. And it was actually, we saw at the beginning of that fight too, JD was positioned behind the wood line. So the archers, the longbows, they couldn't really step up to actually snipe her down. And she was able to soak a lot of the XP from the melee mass. And KP asked early on if we think we were going to get Archipelago in the first couple maps, or if it would be saved for game 5. And we're seeing it now.
Yeah, Archipelago. We see Ayubit and Abbasid against Order of the Dragon and Marlians. Now, Marlians is an interesting one because they've been changed. They've been changed a little bit on water. So something that Marlians do now is their fishing ships, whenever they drop off food, they're actually going to start dropping off a little bit of gold as well. So it's a nice little bit of a change in dynamics there, where now Mali actually has a pretty nice buff on water as well. They aren't 100% reliant on that early pit mine, which realistically you can't really go up get it up early when you want to also like get fishing ships out.
Yeah, there's also the transport ship cheese, although I don't think we'll be seeing that this game. But I remember when Mali first came out and people jumped into their transport ship at the beginning, everyone thought it was the most OP thing in the world.
Never forget that you are still idling units inside of the transport ship, but man, Depston, I gotta say, like, we're in that Christmas season right now. We got that Christmas spirit, and coming on here on the final day, being able to cast the finals here on EGC, I just want to say, like, I'm really thankful today, both for EGC TV, but I think most importantly for all of you people here right now in the chat supporting us on EGC TV, being able to bring you guys all of these amazing tournament games, and it's only up from here. Like, we got so much more stuff planned. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was fun watching some of the previous series the other weeks, and it was really hyping me up for the finals. I mean, we saw some of, Beastie and Marine Lord getting knocked out by KQP over here, and now they're finding themselves a foothold behind. They're going to try to climb themselves back up, and Archipelago is the map to do it on. It's the map for the people, you know? It's the one the viewers like to see.
All right, let's jump right into our game number 2. DEDA versus Kosas Pasan. We got unattended on the Malian. So we talked a little bit about the transport ship cheese. That's usually something that B or Cat would like to do, but Cat is playing on the Ottoman. So we also have like a little bit of a player switch out here, as B is going to be taking a seat on the back lines here for this one.
Yeah, and I love having that team where you can, see some subs get utilized. Maybe we'll get to see Blade get in on Team NA today, and I know he's been grinding some PoE, so maybe it'll work out in the AoE4's favor.
Everything could happen.
Docks starting to be dropped though for all these players. And the first dock is typically, as we see every single player do, is drop on the backside. You kind of want it safe, secure, have your opponent take a little bit more, not walking time, but sailing time to get back to try to take down some fishing ships if they're trying to be aggressive. Also forces them in between both of the islands and makes it to where it's really easy to get 2v1.
Yeah, definitely. I think the dynamic here on the 2v2 version of this map, it's very, very interesting. I think much more even compared to playing this map in 1v1s. You can see already, like, in 1v1s you have 3 sacred sites. In 2v2s, you actually only have 2 sacred sites in the middle here. You also have a lot more deep sea fish around these little islands. I think the 2v2 dynamic on this map is actually just absolutely beautiful, and that's why I really love seeing this map coming out in this team tournament.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of just random strategies that I saw a couple different strategies where someone actually went no water early on and went for a quick feudal into the aggression, and then teammate. There's all these random different. I don't suggest that strategy. I always say when there's deep sea fish should get taken, and so that's where we're already seeing that now. Even seeing a double dock play this early on from Vortex.
It kind of makes sense as Vortex to be able to go for the double dock, because as the Ayubits, you do always have the option of going for the advancement wing. where you're not gonna need as many villagers on gold or on food because you're spending less resource on the age up. So you can instead use those resources to invest into more fishing ships.
Yeah, allows him to be even greedier in this dark age, can kind of vault himself up even further. And both the, Abba over there, his teammate, can drop some docks for quite cheap, and already dropping a dock onto the front side. So maybe Lucifron is the one that's going to try to be the aggressor here in this earlier feudal age play.
Second dock now also getting dropped by Lucifron and Cat. So we should be seeing either an explosive growth onto the water economy, or actually, yeah, it should be on the water economy. But I'm a little bit confused right now as to what the game plan from Cat is behind this, because he doesn't really get any phenomenal bonuses that help catapult him to the feudal age, and he hasn't even started gathering gold behind all of this.
Yeah, I think we just saw him send his first villager over to gold, so it feels like, I mean, I guess the one way to look at it is won't be as delayed because Abba still can't, rush up their landmark, but does have the benefit of having all of those villagers and fishing boats working that whole entire time. So we'll have some extra resources once he does end up going up.
Yeah, Pitmine has now come in for Ananton. We see he already gathered up like around 30 gold just passively from those fishing ships. House of Wisdom now coming up, and 3 villagers from Lucifron are on gold, so should be able to click the age up as soon as that House of Wisdom is finished. Vortex, okay, never mind, I confused them. Vortex is the higher bid player, not Lucifron. Man, these two civilizations, there's a reason why they're variant civs. They look completely identical early on.
Easy to swap up, and with having purple and pink, not saying it's that easy colors, but it's still easy to kind of swap up those two colors, seeing what age up wing Lucifron is deciding, and it's gonna be culture.
All right, culture wing makes a lot of sense on water because you are always having like that added opportunity of being able to go for interesting. To go for a fast castle age as well, since you are getting the rebate there, especially on all the technologies. We're actually seeing Vortex not going for the advancement wing here. Instead, it's just going to be the normal economic wing growth. Gives himself an additional 3 villagers. And it's interesting that neither of the players here chose to go for a fast feudal age approach. They're both all just playing this one a little bit more lean back. There's no real rush at the moment for them to age up and get their military ships out.
Yeah, and this is the landmark that's kind of the biggest surprise to me, is Anatan's going with the Saharan Trade Network, playing a little bit more defensive game here instead of going with the Mantiquari and getting himself some free resources. But I guess he's saying, I've got more than enough gold. I don't care to swap it on over to stone. I want to have the Saharan Trade Network for some extra defenses here on my backside on the water. And then also, does the Saharan Trade Network help out with water trade?
Yeah, that's the thing that I actually was about to ask. It should. It should.
Trade ships. It's a trade
there we
ship.
go. Trade ships.
Yeah.
There we go. So you are also like you're literally getting every single resource from trade there. You're getting wood, you're getting gold, you're getting food, everything but stone.
And it'd be really hard to, even though like the trade route might not be the greatest, it would be really hard to actually kind of deny any trade route on that backside just because of where the location is behind the base, behind the Saharan Trade Network. So something to monitor at later stages of the game. I don't think Anatan's going to be pumping trade ships anytime early though.
Yeah, but we are already seeing that transport ship coming in, as Cal is highlighting here. So very likely villager transportation is going to be coming soon onto one of those outer islands.
And one of the things we'll see on this map a lot of times is where, like, sometimes the early move out doesn't feel great because you're obviously giving up some resources, you're idling out villagers. But the worst thing ever is when your initial wood line runs out and you haven't made that move over to the other island. You still need lumber camp dropped, and you're idled all of that time with your whole entire wood economy. And those wood lines do chop out rather quick on these water maps.
They do. Cat now also reached feudal age. Still, at the moment, no military ships in production from him. It looks like, just judging by his economy, he's trying to go for a fast castle age here now behind this. Already a lot of food in the bank, a lot of gold about to be gathered up as well. This feels very dangerous. He's got a lot of economy out on water that could start to get harassed by these ships that are coming in from Vortex and Lucifron now.
Yeah, and it looks like Anatan's starting to pump up the military ships now. It might be that kind of typical play when you think about this. If this were like just a full land map, sometimes one person, we saw it last game, one person goes fast castle, the other person relies on the teammate to help up a little more. The other teammates, you know, making more military, and that's Anatan in this case. He's been the one pumping more ships, whereas Cat about to be able to drop Castle Age.
It's very interesting. I mean, Castle Age is very good for a cat with the Order of the Dragon, right? Like, at this point in time, it is still very tough to deny control over the corner sites, the corner islands. And if you're able to just, like, get some of these relics in, like, every single island has 2 relics. If you're able to just get those relics and put them inside of your docks as well, not only are you going to increase the attack speed of your ships, as that is a bonus that the Archery and Order of the Dragon get, but you're also just going to get so much passive gold.
Yeah, and if he's able to get the fishing upgrade as well on all of those boats, they become so much more effective than their the feudal age counterparts. And Regnance is on the way as we speak.
It's interesting though, Lucifron not too far behind, also going for Castle Age play. Vortex just clicked Castle Age as well with the advancement wing, so should be hitting Castle Age very soon as well. This is kind of incredible. I didn't expect
so
all
weird.
of them. Yeah, all of these players now going fast Castle Age. No water aggression yet at all.
Yeah, well, I will say I feel like water has the meta in water has developed so much. I remember like the old days, it was like the earliest ship out as fast as possible. You want to be as aggressive as possible, and then it kind of developed into like, yeah, I you can kill some ships, but it was hard to take down docks, so you felt like you couldn't really get water fully denied. And now these players are like, no, just hit Castle Age and then let's go.
Indeed. Upgrades are going to be coming in soon for Cat as soon as Age Up comes in. He does have a lot of gold banked, and most of these upgrades just cost food and gold. And there we go. All of his resources have been utilized immediately. Bagla also, we got the unique upgrade for the Ayubits and the Abbasid coming in. Gives their ships a little bit of bonus HP here. The scaling in Castle Age could be quite nice then for them.
Yeah, Vortex and Lucifron both just needing to wait to, you know, upgrades to come through, age ups to come through as Cat's just now finished. So they're the ones being the aggressor still. Might need to pull back here for a second, not take these engagements as they're about to start being outnumbered and out-tech just for a little bit.
Some demo ships here as well. Only one archer ship for the time being. Relics haven't been picked up yet. Looks like it's mostly just about the technologies.
I'm so not used to seeing Molly ships on the water that, like, I'm just not used to the visibility of which one's which. Like, the demo, obviously, weird, you can see the little fire, but it's like, oh, okay, all right. Thanks, Observer, Cal, saying, all right, paddles on the outside. I guess that's the galley.
The more you know.
Hunting canoe, not galley, sorry.
Anatan, he's still pretty far away from aging up himself. I don't see any water trade happening yet at the moment, and this is an issue with these thinner wood lines that are towards the shoreline. Might find yourself in an awkward position, and that's a big army now from Vortex and Lucifron.
Yeah, big army, and they are both teched on up, whereas Cat, only one in Castle Age, still waiting on those upgrades to come through. Armored hull not quite yet finished, just about to now.
The coordination on these two brothers is insane as well. Like, they always move as one here, it feels like. Meanwhile, Cat and Anatan, you can tell, they're kind of like struggling with keeping up with each other.
Distraction Wololos. Oh, no, actually, not distraction.
Intentional Wololo.
Rushing down an outpost over on that wood line, and main engagement starting to go down. Demo's not able to connect, but there should be some more coming in. Lucifron has a few demos over on that northern side. Galley's still sniping them out before they're able to connect, though.
Transport ship being able to tank a good bit of fire there, but in the end, it feels like it's just not enough. These Castle Age upgrades, Anatan, he does have the superior mass, but the quality just isn't there, and now Vortex and Lucifron just overrunning, or well, overswimming them.
Yeah, and I love where they're attacking to. It's right in between two islands. So now Cat and Anatan need to move up at the same time to take these engagements. It's so hard to do. So easy for Vortex and Lucifron to just turn, fight, and deny one side. Cat's fishing about to start being denied as well. Looks like Team 3 DEDA might be in some trouble, and Cat's going up to Imperial.
The demo ships try to go for some connections, are gonna get some decent ones there, but looking at the military count, 90 to 40 and way more military ships on the way. Cat now investing a lot of his resources into Imperial Age.
I mean, I just don't see the value that Swabia would be giving you right now that would have been greater than, you know, actually defending water and holding as S2 and investing your resources into that. But last ditch effort trying to make the transition maybe on to full land on this, you know, island map.
This is looking really, really rough right now. We have a transport ship with just a single unit inside. Probably not going to be able to kill any fishing ships. Regeneration should be able to out-heal that. And now Relic gets freed up from that dog. Pulse Swabia about to complete. Anatan, though, I don't think he's transitioned over to an island yet. And you can tell, like, he's running out of wood on his main island. He needs to go somewhere. Just where?
And he's not going to be able to go anywhere. And not only that, he's still feudal age. So he's about to drop castle right as I say that. He's going to be able to start aging up, but that's even less room he's going to have on his main island now.
I mean, he does still have that outpost, which at least helps him a little bit when it comes to just being able to walk around there. Yeah, age up should be coming in. The question is, with what do you really want to age up here? It's not like you're going to get cattle out anytime soon. Could be looking for Grand Filani Corral on the corner island. And indeed, it looks like that's going to be the play. No, it's going to be on the Mail Island. That's fair. That is likely not going to be contested anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have an option. He was able to move out to that northern island with some villagers, but he needs to get that castle age down sooner than later. Has retaken that wood line, but oh no.
Oh, a single knight.
Oh no.
A single knight is going to spell doom here for Anatan now.
Has found out the villagers on the north. Anatan's going to need to start rushing down some outposts or maybe rushing over a few transport ships.
Cat is trying to beat the army with the Carracks. Carracks doing a lot of damage here. No repair from the fishing ships here. Could have held that Carrack alive. But it's starting to be a lot of units as the entire naval force from Vortex and Lucifron starts to converge on these Carracks that have just come out. Demo ships still able to do great damage against them. Can we actually select some of these ships from Vortex and Lucifron, just see how much health they have at the moment with the unique upgrades from the Iobid and the Abbasid in combination with the Armored Hull?
Able to chase down the Carracks and finish off those few Carracks. Docks are starting to get a little bit lower too. Going to be harder to drop more docks down as well, since you have no naval, you know, superiority. You're losing all the positioning points, and we're seeing Lucifron just start to circle Anatan's island. Not going to be able to go anywhere.
Ajab has now come in, or rather is being clicked for Vortex now. And he's now in Castle Age. He's trying to gather up gold in order to get his food economy going again with the cattle. He just doesn't have wood in order to make the ranches.
Yeah, I was about to say, he also doesn't have any other resources to gather, so that also might be why he's on gold. He's like, well, I can't gather the wood. I can't really go out to those berries. I might as well just gather a resource because it's better than nothing.
Yeah, currently just stranded on his main island. Now more knights getting garrisoned over there with the transport ship. Carrack is being repaired by some villagers. That this fight is going to be going favorably, but the demo ship still able to do a lot of damage here, surround the Carrack as well.
Relic trying to get re-dropped back into the dock as it was taken down. More and more docks starting to fall. So each time these Carracks start dying, it's that much harder to build another one as there's less and less docks.
Villagers have to be careful.
A mass villager pull to rebuild and repair this Carrack, and another demo on the way.
Villagers are cheap, so this is fine for the most part. Just pull them again, pull them again. Cat still has enough food to just keep massing villagers here. This is gonna take a while to kill anything.
As it goes to drop off, it's gonna get healed up, and now that that transport ship's gonna focus something else.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
I see a lot of net villager.
Yeah, that kind of tells a story here, doesn't it?
Yeah, Cat has Swabby, and he's sitting on 52 eco.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great at all right now. Placement, cannon placement does come in with a relic inside as well. Without the upgrade, I don't think this is going to be in range enough to start hitting that outpost, but the outpost doesn't feel too safe here. Has a relic inside, but man, this is
Northern
really
Island.
a desolate situation at the moment for the 3 Dedas.
Yeah, I feel like Anatan's about to lose his main island that was his original TC. Lucifron has it fully surrounded. He's taken down all the docks. He's taken down the Saharan trade network. And I don't know how much gold's left in that gold vein, but it can't be too much at this point.
Sevex now also coming in for Vortex. 3 already in the queue. Lucifron behind this, also aging up now. So we're going to be seeing double Xebec play here coming in soon. The market has been destroyed from Anaton, and Cat is sending him just enough wood in order to be able to rebuild a market.
He's just so... This just feels so bad. It's like the old days of the Mongol Tower Rush where all of a sudden you look and there's 4 outposts all around your base, except it's just you're on an island with ships all around. And finally, Team 3 DEDA throws in the towel. It is a tied up series, 1-1.
And these water battles, I really didn't expect it to turn out this way. Like, we had all of these players just suddenly try and immediately rush up to that Castle Age military, though always in favor of Lucifron Vortex. Felt like Anaton and Cat were just a little bit, well, not too greedy, but too overzealous, I feel like, a little bit. Like, they made ships, but they never really started attacking.
Yeah, and they were. It still felt like they were on the back foot when KQP both went up to Castle Age, and Anatan and Cat were getting attacked, and it was like, wait, it's supposed to be the other way. It's supposed to be, you know, the other side goes double castle, and it's like, oh, now this is free. Now let's push, and it should be an easy time to take down a lot. But instead, they were on the back foot. They got denied some fights, lost some more and more, and you can just see how far that graph just started to tilt in the favor of Team KQP.
Yeah, indeed, the total resource guide as well. 15,000 resources difference there between them.
Exactly, and getting another water map involved as Scandinavia is the next choice. This is obviously the one with a little bit of this is accessible water on the sides and some deep sea fish, kind of more in tune towards the center of those side rivers, lakes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing China and Japan from Kosas Pasan and Juji and HRE from the 3 Dedas. So both of these teams have some very, very decent civilizations here on this map. I'm wondering how exactly this one is gonna go. I mean, China and Juji, they kind of like even each other out a little bit. I want to say Juji has a good bit more tempo, especially on these type of water maps, where if they get like really good meditation garden spots, they can really explode into feudal age, get a lot of these ships out, and just overall being able to both attack on land and on water, because they can immediately get Jugonaut out and don't have to go for a dynasty. So just getting like 1 to 2 Jugonaut out, having them on the gold, being able to just do a lot of damage to villagers there, it's going to force a major reaction from the opposing player. On the other hand side, Japan, they explode in general when it comes to water. Just very, very cheap fishing ships, and then a transition into Castle Age. That's where they thrive. Mounted Samurai are definitely no joke here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I expect to see from the side of Japanese. You know, usually you'll see 3 or so fishing boats in that kind of early Dark Age. Make sure they get to Feudal Age on a decent level, decent timing. And then if they don't have to make anything, if their teammates supporting them with that Chook Rush, like you said, or a Barbican, then it's Castle Age. It's their bread and butter. Japanese, it feels like no one ever plays feudal. No one ever wants to play feudal. It feels like if Japanese plays feudal is a way to lose the game. So if KQP is able to get up to castle on a fine level, pump up that mounted samurai number, that's where it's going to be really hard for 3DEDA to come back from that.
Yeah, exactly. Something that is viable in feudal age for Japan, it's the Koka Township, where you get those shinobi out, and shinobi on water map specifically, having that sabotage ability, being able to deny dock production for 30 seconds after getting that sabotage ability out, really, it's one of those abilities that if it comes in at the correct time and catches your opponent off guard, you're able to get into like a checkmate situation where your opponent just doesn't have a way of coming back on water.
Yeah, and that's one where in 1v1s it feels like the shinobi are underwhelming at times. Like sometimes the timing plays out, but a lot of times it's like, all right, they kind of delayed me a little bit, and now it was a big flop. With 2v2s, it really can mess up that timing. All you need is 1 to 2 of them, and then you don't even have to invest too much resources into it, and allows your teammate to take over the water, fully secure one of the sides. With Scandinavia, it's not about winning both sides. It's just making sure you got one side secured at least.
Exactly. As long as you have one side secured, you're going to be able to, like, even as a team, go out with both players onto one of those sides. Something to keep in mind is that there are neutral markets on this map. So fish trade, water trade can be an option. However, it is relatively easy to shut down. You just gotta get like 1 to 2 outposts outside of range of ships, but in range of the neutral markets. That way you're gonna be able to relatively easily kill ships from afar that are trying to trade with the neutral market there. But we've seen it time and time again where people, in the heat of the moment, they might not think about that. And they might let like water trade go on uncontested. If that happens, you could find yourself in a situation where even if you're winning on land, even if you're killing economy there, your opponent still has a lot of economy and water and might be able to come back.
Yeah, I kind of, the previous couple weeks when I was casting, there were a few games where I saw that exact thing happen, whether it was one team winning the water and investing way too much in water trade, and 1 to 2 outposts was able to fully deny all that investment they had, or one team feeling like they're in a good spot, and then I look at the vision changes and you see, oh, they haven't scouted the water trade, and all of a sudden there's 30, 40 water trade boats, and they're bringing in multiple resources as well, so it makes things very easy as a whole. You get your nice old food from the fishing boats, and then you get some gold and wood from the water trade.
Exactly, just overall getting a lot of resources there potentially from water trade. Just having the ability to get wood there as well, it's so underappreciated at times. Like, it actually makes such a big difference, and it's all the resources as well that you're getting that you need to be able to make even more water traders, and it can kind of like snowball economy-wise as well there to a certain degree.
Yeah, my big question is, I don't know, do you think we're going to see any of the HRE Dark Age Spearmen, as we'll see that at times on some of these hybrid maps, but sometimes, people think that Scandinavia might be not enough worth to invest into the Dark Age Spears.
It could be good against Japan if you go for it right away, just because you're going to be able to like deny Koka for a significant amount of time. But once Koka comes in, I don't think you can really get any great use out of the Spearmen anymore. Just the Shinobi, they deal so easily with Spearmen, doing 25 damage overall to melee units. 3 hits and the Spearman's going to go down.
Yep. But enough talking about it. We can see the timer start ticking, hits 0. So we should be getting into this game number 3 in just a little bit here.
All right, and here we go. Game number 3 between the 3DEDAs and Kosas and Pasan. And indeed, we do see actually an opening from both players on the side of 3DEDA. No water in mind. They're just gonna go, like, it looks like Anton's just gonna go straight for Feudal Age, and B, with the HRE, it's just gonna mass up Spearmen here.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the other side, we see the typical expected play. Hey, both sides are going with the dock to start on off. So let's see when the side of 3DEDAs is when their play is going to be scouted out, and what the Spanish bros are going to do in reaction to it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, does get scouted out now by Vortex, so at least he knows what's coming. We do see a little wall coming in from the shoreline over to the wood line.
It's actually, I mean, I love this play. It's not too much of an investment to drop that wall. What is it? Probably 30 wood, maybe not even that. And he's actually dropping another additional segment. This means the spears can't get to his dock. They have to burn through the tower, burn through the wall, or run around it and hit the town center fire. And this is really, really solid by Vortex, just seeing, scouting, getting the knowledge that he needs and reacting correctly.
It's not about the water denial, though. It's about the outpost rush, as we see a villager getting pulled by B as well. He's not out for the dock, he's out for the gold. And look at where gold is for Vortex. It's all forward. And he's immediately pulling a lot of villagers without a mining camp in order to get gold to secure himself his age up.
Yeah, he's going for it now. Spears can't really get into that range. They're trying to get a little bit of damage in, able to get a few pokes, but not
of the
before.
TC.
And so Vortex should be able to get enough gold with this age up timing, just that long distance mining with, I think he said 7 villagers, so 10 gold each on those villagers, and he'll have enough for the age up.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this hurts quite a little bit, but the outpost should still be going up. I'm just wondering, like, Shinobi, they're
Wait,
so great against spearmen.
He didn't get enough.
Oh, he didn't. He still has to go for round 2. Villager, has he been pulled back? Looks like the villager is not moving forward anymore.
Oh, one spear falls. Looks like B's going to commit for this. He's going to lose another spearman for this.
Oh, that hurts a lot. I'm not sure if there's still like the villager going forward for the outpost, though. It doesn't look like it. Never mind. Villager, he's been gathering some food from the looks of it.
Yeah, he went in onto that sheep right next to when he was killing the sheep with the scout. He was sitting there gathering from the sheep.
Oh, no. Looks like B. Now he realizes, oh no, there are walls here. Pathing gets screwed up, and yeah, that was really annoying for him. Vortex, he's got the gold now, but he's still nowhere near being able to age up behind this. Oh, this could be a nice follow-up outpost potentially there onto Lucifron's gold.
Yeah, and on the other side, Anatan's feudal age finishes. If you're talking, wow, we've been so distracted with the Dark Age play, didn't even do the typical meditation garden spot, but nothing crazy with the meditation garden's location.
That's a sanitation garden.
A little bit of delay on the outpost if possible. Villagers getting pulled. B has spears though. There's no way. Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way that play is gonna work out.
They thought about it and they were like, on the other side, maybe not the best idea. Let's go back.
Yeah, Lucifron only had one dock out there as well. So with the, okay, there's the second dock coming up. I was about to say, usually when you see this fast feudal play, the idea and the counter reaction is drop an extra dock, have enough room for all your fishing boats just to garrison, and then just give yourself time to make a few military ships push the others on back.
Age now coming in for both Vortex and Lucifron, and we do see 4 villagers getting pulled. This is in line of sight of the outpost, so B, he's gonna have a clue of what's going on here.
Yeah,
they're trying to get the gold next to the shoreline.
It gets scouted out, and it looks like B might double down on the outpost rush and deny the other side's gold as well, and say, hey, there's double gold here from Lucifron. Let's go ahead and drop an outpost here, but instead, Vortex is trying to get an outpost down quick. There's 2 spears here. There's a villager here. Villager pulls the shiv out. And Vortex, I don't think this goes up. Yeah.
It does not, for the time being, at least. And Lucifron, he's trying to make units on water. He's trying to get ships out.
This is so much idle time now that this play is causing these 4 villagers. They're not going to be able to do anything for a good little bit of time. I believe they're going to go try to drop an outpost on the gold by the water, but Anatan's already has military ships by those docks. He could maybe just move on over to that area. Demo ship on the way.
Oh, this could be big. This could be big. If they get control over on this side, they're gonna once again be able to shut down the gold. Demo ship pulls back. Is like, he does know that he right now doesn't have the capability to one-shot that.
He's got 2 oh no, it's the other demo.
No. Oh, that's a clean hit. Oh no, that's so bad. But second demo ship. That's gonna be enough.
And he can go back to his dock and get those healed on up.
Shinobi gets a sabotage on one of the outposts, but that is still something that B can just repair up again.
Yeah, and we talked about in this the pregame saying, hey, Japan, they just need to get up to castle and they're in their sweet spot. Well, guess what? We're now almost 7 minutes into this game. Vortex just now able to get back onto gold with 4 villagers, and it doesn't even feel like it's a safe spot to even get back onto that gold for the time being. So Japan has been heavily diminished here in this game from where they want to be.
Definitely has. This scout also has done a good amount of damage to the dock in combination with that war junk here. And dock now on fire. Villager needs to get pulled here by Lucifer in order to repair that.
Yeah, Anatan could stay in vision with his scout right when that villager tries to move on up.
Villager gets pulled, goes for the repair.
It's the repair in time.
Such a clutch moment here for him. And gold once again gets denied on the other side for Lucifron.
Villager has been pulled up to repair that dock. There's military ships here. That villager should end up falling, and the dock is still on fire. This is so bad for Lucifron. Losing that dock now only has 1.
That was a demo ship in the queue there. He's gonna get cancelled. Another demo ship comes out though.
Has a galley not too far away. Fishing boats can't really gather any more from a safe location, as we talked about it. Those fish are in the mid-map, and that's where Anatan's attacking from. Has more military ships than Lucifron, and Lucifron only has the ability to make ships out of 1 dock.
Once again, this game so far, it's looking really good from DEDA. Very unorthodox strategy, but it seems to be paying off at the same time. Vortex also investing a little bit on water. There are fights going on there as B has switched his attention over to the water side from Vortex as well. Injured Springle ship gets pulled back in time. It's just going to get healed back to full. Oh man, the
great micro from Anatan.
Yeah, the fishing ships just continuously repairing the war junks there throughout the entire time. Demo ship tries to go for the shot, doesn't quite get it, but could take the fishing ships down.
And during this, look at Lucifron's wood line. 3DB, he's moving that outpost rush up, and it's about to, I think he's about to finish a outpost on the wood line of Lucifron. That being said, Shinobi able to jump onto the gold, able to take down a few villagers, and oh no.
Oh my god.
This is going to be huge if he's able to get this up, able to finish this.
Very cheeky play there from him. That's going to be a lot of denial. He sees the spearman, doesn't see the outpost yet.
And this is going to allow Anatan to win that water fight that much easier. He's going to cause more denial from Lucifron, cancel out his wood gathering.
They got the line of sight. So you can just put the units inside and you're immediately going to be able to deny half of the wood line.
Oh. Shinobi trying to do as much damage as possible, forcing a pressure tower on out. They could jump on top of that again. Yeah, you got to cancel that.
Sabotage could instantly kill that outpost. He needs a couple of archers at the very least. Outpost did go up. It looks like there was a slight idea to maybe pull the villagers to burn it down. Does think about it twice though.
Yep, villager ends up falling, and I believe what B is going to do is just circle around to the other backside, drop another outpost, and have that wood line full denied.
Villager's trying to get an outpost up. That's not going to happen. Gets cancelled.
Lucifron has been able to get another dock down, but spears circle around. It's not an outpost. He doesn't even care about getting the outpost on up. He just wants to continue to delay, continue to deny that wood line, starting to burn down that lumber camp and build yet another outpost.
And instead of B making archers here, Anatan is going to support him against the Shinobi with the Jugunu play. More docks coming at the front line, and B also dropping docks now over on the other side of the pond.
And Anatan has slowly been moving up further and further with this mass. Spears decide to dive the villagers, dive the wood line fully. Only 1 spear left after all of that, though.
One of the outposts looks like it has been sabotaged before. B slowly but surely. Actually, he doesn't have anybody on stone right now. Probably will want to get some emplacements. Demo ships get some great connections here. Demo ships on the other hand side, though, as well. Archer ship is starting to get focused down.
Anatan splits his demos on up. 1 demo gets sniped on out. Second one gets focused, not before it's able to take down a springled ship. Overall, pretty even trade for the most part, but Anatan will take the even trades as Lucifron has been the one getting denied on the land.
this wood line now completely denied. Lucifer, he had to switch over, but now there's Jugunu out on the map, and no real answer other than some Yumi archers so far from Kosas Pasan.
Yep.
Outpost got taken down, though.
Outpost did get taken down on the gold. Vortex has plenty of food into the bank. He could be looking to make that castle play here in the near future. Looks like he did a great job of denying quite a bit of B's side. B hadn't quite gotten to be able to do exactly what it wants to do, and Vortex has a good amount of fishing boats going undenied.
I like B's play behind this. So he wasn't able to play, he didn't play with the Archon, right? But he is instead making prelates every now and then. He's got 3 prelates out, so he's going to be able to inspire roughly 30 villagers just even without the Archon.
Oh no,
this could be a great pick. Doesn't kill a single villager.
I don't think I was about to say, I don't think he killed anyone, so surprisingly there. Looking up at the economy numbers, though, you can see how far diminished Lucifer's been. He's been the one being focused constantly. That outpost rush ended up circling around and hitting his wood line instead of the original, focused gold of Japan. And then all of a sudden, he's sitting at 35 economy. Everyone else in the mid-high 40s, and his brother in the low 50s. Fishing boats, hello?
Hello? They're having a little dance there.
They're trying. Pathing issue.
Okay. Yep.
I know how much that's going to annoy Cal. He's going to consistently look back at it and just be like, how have they not fixed? How is this not fixed yet? Come on now.
Literally me when I'm walking in front of somebody and we're both dodging to the same side. On the side.
Oh, yeah. House slowly getting torched down. Chooks, though, are now starting to roam on out, which should push away not only the Shinobi, but also the Yumi. But Greedy B, he said enough of that. I want to have some map control. We know how he loves his horsemen. He's always been a proponent of the horsemen, even though everyone complains about them. They definitely have their pathing issues. They don't feel like they do a ton of damage because of that, but they have mobility, and mobility is king.
Look at that, Castle Age coming in, and it's going to be the Mount Lu Academy here from Anaton. So Mount Lu Academy, you're not going to get Shaolin monks, but what you do get is a passive bonus, which means that your imperial officials are going to drop off taxes, or rather are able to gather up taxes twice as often as they usually are able to, and you get some really cool unique upgrades, like for example, increase supervision speed from 150 to 300%.
And that's the first one that he focuses on. Yeah, that's the first one he focuses on. It's not too expensive of an upgrade. Pays itself off so quickly. And we see both sides of the water where B and we talked about it beforehand. You only really need to secure one. B and Anatan fishing on one side. Lucifron now dropping docks. Probably going to go start fishing on the side that Vortex has secured this whole time. B trying to do some horseman raiding. Circles around a mounted samurai. I'm pretty sure that mounted samurai is going to win the 1v5.
He probably could. I'm not gonna lie. Mounted Samurai, they kind of build differently, and there's already 5 of them out on the field. We are now getting mass crossbows coming in here from Anaton, and once that upgrade comes in from the Mount Lu Academy, he's just gonna be able to explode into a big mass of those crossbows. And whenever Balchin criticizes me for having like 15 units in queue with only like 3 production buildings, I'm like, hey, stop. It's not 3 production buildings. I'm supervising. These are like 10.
Speaking of like 10, we might see like 10 villagers go down from these mounted samurai raids. I see maybe 4 or 5 on the ground. Mounted samurai do end up getting cleaned up. And B and Antan still having the eco lead after that. I think they're happy with that then, taking out some of these mounted samurai. Really don't want that number to climb up. They can get so dangerous, and all of a sudden when you have your crossbow mass, now they aren't as big of a deal to worry about.
Both players, or rather both teams so far, have now settled down on opposite sides of the river here. Overall, B and Anaton, they still have a good, firm economic advantage, I want to say.
You jinxed it! Caster curse!
Yeah, never mind. There's no economic advantage here. We're neck and neck right now when it comes to the economy.
Oh my gosh, that was a pretty sight to see from those demos. Well, coming in, B has some horsemen on it and able to take down the Monk before it secures up that next relic. And B is moving forward with this Horseman Spear combo.
Yeah, Horseman Spear walking forwards. There's the crossbow. Need to be careful of those. Now there's a pretty good meat shield here with the Spearman, with the Horseman. This could be what they need in order to start pushing into the base of one of these players. Lucifron, he's very far away from Castle Age at this point in time. B, not that far away, actually.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job still splitting the Spanish brothers. That outpost still splits them, but still where they're keeping their militaries together, grouped in between the two bases. Demos pop out. One's able to get a good connection, but without the second follow-up, doesn't end up getting the kills that it needs. And B is dropping Regnants. I see a couple easily securable relics for himself, especially with the way that their armies are. They have the map control. They should be no problem sitting on 3, maybe 4 relics, and Anathan might even have some to deliver on over to him too.
Some invisible horsemen in water there. Lucifron losing a couple of villagers on gold at the same time. Now there's a dive coming onto the outpost, onto the gold over here from the 3 DEDAs. On Vortex's side, Army tries to wrap around, but the horsemen, they're going to find the Shugadu and the archers.
And this is where we talked about the armies getting split. The archers, they can't move forward. This allows the crossbows to just spire untouched to the mounted samurais. They can't take the fight they want. Archers can't take the fight they want. Meanwhile, 3DB and Anatan, they are happy to see all of this. More outposts going down. Castle H has finished, and a huge win in this fight where Japan is now getting denied off of gold yet again.
Gold. Like, neither of these players have gold right now. Neither Vortex nor Lucifron, both of them 0 villagers on gold. And we've seen in one of the previous sets that we had, Team Boiling Oil versus Team Elephant, how at least like when the Japan player got pushed off of gold, the other player was able to sling gold over. That's not gonna happen here. And oh no, the monastery forward. We got a Regnant's Cathedral. B has 5 prelates out. He's going to see this. He's going to be like, that's 320 gold per minute. I'll take that. Another relic right next to it. That's like 500 gold per minute that he can just take right there.
Yeah, and the 3 relics that were on his side of the map disappeared from the mini-map rather quickly, so wouldn't be surprised to see B starting to secure up, 6 relics here with the Regnants. And
there's the waypoints. There's the waypoints that we're looking at.
He might not have that chapel economy, but he is definitely going to have that relic economy.
Looks like one of the relics is trying to get picked up again. I don't think he's gonna go home.
Yep,
yeah.
Didn't get queued on back, so he picked it up, he sat, he said, ooh, military's fighting, I want to watch. And there is the first relic heist secured. Anatan trying to do his own relic heist as well.
Not quite as successful. That's a lot of mounted samurai going down. Once all of them are gone, there's not really a way to come back onto that. At the same time, looks like Vortex pulled 17 villagers to gold at the bottom side. So he is going to get gold income yet again.
Yeah, is able to gather up that gold near their docks. So we'll also have a little bit of military to defend it up. And there is the relic heist again. B, he snagged them all. They're all his.
He's getting every single one. The gold income is going to erupt from him.
Yeah, wouldn't be too surprised to see B or Anatan, one of them, and I would expect it to be B, to go up to Imperial Age soon with this military mass that they have. They're still going to continue this fighting, but just slowly stockpile those resources up with the extra bank he's getting. Horseman closing the gap, trying to get the circler around those Yumi, and you can see it when they get when they actually have their pathing and get that circle on. They do so much damage.
Owl Pike's doing such a great job here as well for B. Additional damage on these horsemen means that he doesn't do insignificant damage. The damage is significant that he does even to the mounted samurai. Outpost looks like the villager died trying to build it up, but it is very close to completion.
And Lucifron still, oh my gosh, is that another is that outpost being built or close?
No,
it got denied.
Village
oh my
died,
god.
yeah.
I was about to say, it's like he's having this old like Mongol days, like outposts all around his base. He has nowhere to go, can't push forward. He's trying to break out of it with his archer Chuk mass, and is it going to be enough?
Only ranged units here. The last mounted samurai about to fall, and there's a big mass of horsemen. These aren't normal horsemen. These are legitimately juiced up HRE Alpike horsemen. At the same time, palace guards from the backside coming in as well.
I
This is
love the
devastating.
swap from Anatan. Going into Palace Guards right now, he knows Vortex and Lucifron don't have anything they can do to deal with this. The Horsemen, they're now, with the position they're in, they can just A-move at this point into all of this ranged mass. No spears here even to defend, and it is over. Team 3 DEDA takes game number 3, takes the lead in the series, at least for now.
Potential match point in the next game of this set for 3 DEDA. What an absolutely insane game here between them on Scandinavia. Absolutely beautiful. Looking at the different dynamics that we had here throughout this game, this was truly enjoyable. A pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those that looking at the Dark Age, we were kind of, talking about hypothetical strategies, and we could not have guessed anything of what Anatan and B were planning on. Went with the Dark Age Spear Outpost rush. It didn't care about the docks at all to play out. It was all about gold denial. Anatan going fast feudal, then going with the water. Outposts continued to circle. They did not let the Spanish bros breathe.
Yeah, not at all. And man, looking at it now in the stats, the military value lead there from the beginning with the Dark Age Rush, just not letting Vortex get access to gold only every now and then, here and then. But man, that was such a dynamic game.
And there's still more to come, boys. No, that's right. We don't have to worry about these complete freos. I mean, what a crazy game as well. The aggression that we want to see Free DEDA playing with, and not easy to do, right, Dabston? I think there's kind of an expectation when you see Lucifron and Vortex in a game, in a series, wherever it may be, you think they're always going to be the attackers. But I think really what is paying off for Free DEDA, just as it did yesterday, is their ability to out-aggro any opponent.
Yeah, just get them out of their comfort zone. That's something that can never be said as we see that Devo ship explode. It's something that can never be said in RTS games. It's like, I feel like there's so many players that it's like, they have this build planned and prepped. It's like by 7 minutes, I'm going to have, this many units, 7 on the food to start off, then on the gold. And it's like, well, all of a sudden a spearman gets thrown into the plan. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? Do you know how to correctly react? Are you going to alter your game plan in the right route?
Crackety, we saw regional inspection researched. We did not see it used at all.
I think it got used. Just see how many of
I was
how many
counting.
palace guards
I
came
was
out.
legitimately counting the seconds between units queued and produced. He didn't supervise anything.
There is the thing, yeah. So there is a little bit of a mechanic where if the upgrade comes in while you're supervising a building, you need to
Yeah.
re-supervise it in order to actually get the benefit in. Yeah, that can happen. That can happen. But when the Palace Guard switch came in, I'm quite certain
Yes.
that one
He
did
used
get
it here.
re-supervised.
He didn't
Yeah.
use it at all for the crossbow massing, despite how meta crossbows are. But you're right. It's like I've quoted it multiple times. So I know you've been excited about that build, but every time we've seen, I think Anatan in particular does it a lot. And every single game, reminder folks, if you want to try to implement this yourself, you need to click off the building and supervise again. Because if you don't, apparently the Imperial official didn't receive his software update. He doesn't understand how to compute 8 cores instead of 4. So a little tip there for the future. I think the funniest thing about that game, Dabston, is like I've talked about in the past in these type of scenarios, who gets the relics? And I was sitting and thinking about it. If this game had gone any later, like maybe there would have been some internal discord there because you'd think HRE Regnit's relics, but then Pagodas? I feel like they were racing against each other. There was no cooperation to grab those relics from Lucy's base.
Well, you know what? They answered it. They made their job easy because what they did is they said, hey, we'll just take the other 3 relics that the other side secured and we'll have those are your pagoda relics. I have my Regnant's relics. We're not going to bash heads over here. We're just going to bash the opponents.
Yeah, I think they were bashing heads right at the end. Like, there was a moment where Anatan's like, oh, I'm here to pick up a relic, and B just pulls the entire army back. It's like, oh, I see how this is going. But, boys, we've still got 2 more games potentially ahead of us. Free DEDA on match point now, but, we've got Cliffside, we've got Boardland, Pure Lands. Lands, an environment where both sides, I want to say, have kind of proven themselves, right, Crackety? Like, we talk about Dry Arabia as an opening, fantastic for Free DEDA. And then you have this kind of water hybridization. Does it feel like with the score as it stands and the maps we've been on, Free DEDA should have the edge with the maps remaining?
Overall, I'm not 100% sure. Boldland strikes me as a potentially very, very aggressive map. Overall, you do have these enormous woodlines towards the middle that players will want to contest at any point in the game, really, after like the 6-7 minute mark. Um, on the other hand side, Cliffside is also like one of those maps where you can play very passively in the back. I think we already know the game plan, or rather the gameplay style from Pasan in this one. For 3 DEDA, I think they're a lot more unpredictable.
I think this is a scary combo, though, right, Dabston? You know, like, yeah, you've got Jean, you've got Malians. It almost feels like KQP are going to defend us, though, because when I look on the other side, Free Data with French and Chinese, I mean, you get Jugaну, you get Knights. Are there really many more scary units you can build in Feudal Age in AoE4?
Yeah, and that's one where I feel like 3 Deta also has the opportunity to do different things. You know, with Chinese, they can go full boom, they can go fast castle, they can play feudal age if they want. Whereas it feels like Mali is much more kind of in that narrower focus where it's like, hey, they're gonna want their cow boom, and then it's gonna be this full-fledged military focus. Obviously, with the French and French variants, JD, we expect Royal Knights and Royal Knights and them to stay in feudal age the longest because they need more Royal Knights.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that KQP could be facing elimination here, folks. Remember, we've got a single elim format now at this stage in the playoffs. So if they fail here, they are gone. They are out. It'll be Free Deader first to the grand finals, waiting to see who they'll be up against, whether it'll be the Canadians or it'll be the Chinese lads. Because remember, we've still got Wham, Poppy Paw, and Blade going up against Louis MT, CSO, and Scarlet Devil after this in the second semis. And big reminder, actually, this well, not even a reminder. I'm not allowed to leak it yet, but I can say this an announcement coming. We do have some really big announcements coming at towards the end of this broadcast. So definitely make sure you're parked in your seats for the break between the second semifinals and the grand finals, because we've got some really big announcements coming from EGC. Some really big, exciting plans in the works. Do you guys know anything about these plans?
I'm clueless, man. I'm absolutely clueless
Yeah.
here.
Really?
What could it be?
Yeah.
You know,
We don't get informed of anything.
I think I brought in the wrong commentators. Yesterday I was like, Tim, what's the new Civ? He was like, Aztec straight away. You guys don't even know what EGC are announcing? Jesus. All right. Speculations, by the way, boys, because this is the fun thing for people on Reddit to do right now. Like, when do you think we're getting new Civs in 2025?
I'm hoping Q2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be fine with Q3,
Okay.
and I'll be desperate at Q4.
Thirsty. I mean, didn't they say in the announcement, was it spring 2025, Dabston?
Yeah, well, we know what that means.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that means they announce it in spring, and that means they say it's going to come out late spring, and then it's going to be like midsummer. So let's go with midsummer's when it's going to come out.
Ah, got you. Announcement of announcement, like I just done when I said that before the grand finals,
Mm.
we've got a really big announcement. It really is the meta. What can I say, folks? But reminder, we are about to see the meta setter here. French Chinese in the hands of Free Deda. They are a match point. If they win this one, it is au revoir. I don't know why I chose a French word for a Spanish team, but KQP would be out. A big astonishment after we saw the astonishment of chimps falling victim to them. But let's see if it can happen. Let's see if Anatan, B, and Kat can make everyone's jaws hit the floor and make a statement is here as we hop into Boldland for what I have a feeling is going to be a relentless bloodbath.
All right, let's jump in. Match point now for the 3 Dadas. Kosas Pasan, they're gonna really have to give it their all in order to come back in this one.
Yeah, we got 3 Dedas in the lemon lime colors again, and the Spanish bros in their pink and purple in their respective sides based on the overlay at the top now that we got it swapped on up. And now it's going to see what these game plans are for this match. You know, are we going to see this feudal age expectation like a lot of times that happens on Baldlands?
Yeah, this map, looking at it, I mean, typically gold on this map tends to spawn a little bit further forward. There's no bank gold for any of these players right now. And that doesn't really feel good when you're playing as the Malians. Like, sometimes you get a really nice gold that is close to your ally as well. That's the one that B has here at the moment. So with the French, he's going to have to feel very, very happy about getting a gold that's very close to his ally as well. Vortex, yeah, this one, he's going to have to hope that he's not being aggressed. He might just need to force aggression from his side in order to force not being on the receiving end.
Yeah, and I mean, that's always the concern when you're playing Molly. There's certain maps, certain spawns where you're just, in this unlucky standpoint. He'd love to, move out and get that second pit mine. But like you said, if being annotated or being aggressive, which that's been the name of the game today, it's kind of been the name of the game in the team tournament, then having that second pit mine being secured, it's going to be very difficult for Vortex to do.
Definitely will be. Looking at so far, one of the opportunities here, we could be seeing something like Pro Scouts from the Malians. I think Mali Pro Scout overall is very, very potent, as they get Warrior Scouts, which means while their Scouts are carrying deer, they're going to be faster than normal Scouts, so you get a nice movement speed advantage there as well. H-Up now coming in, School of Cavalry.
Imperial
For
Academy on the
Lucifron.
way as well. And Lucifron, he wouldn't complain about Vortex going Pro Scouts anyways, because that would alleviate a lot of pressure on JD and the civilization there, as you want to pump Knights, and having deer fed into your base makes it very, very easy. Makes your economy very one-dimensional. It's just make sure your gold secured and you're good to go.
At the same time, JD also has very nice bonuses for professional scouts. So she gets it cheaper from her mill. She already has a cavalry building, a stable with the School of Cavalry. Vortex would have to make his own stable for that. So we're going to have to wait and see a little bit how exactly this one's going to go. Already see B killing the deer, laming them a little bit here. Yeah, he's intentionally luring them apart of each other. So this isn't just to pick them or deny pro scouts. It's to make it so that taking these deer, you want to get pro scouts. You don't just want to like build a mill there, because you're going to need multiple mills to get it optimally here.
Yeah, it always feels so bad when that deer lame happens. It's like, what am I supposed, like, it'll happen where it'll take like 3 screens to see all the deer, and you're like, am I supposed to drop like 3 or 4 different mills to gather up these deer? It basically forces pro scout plays at times.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits with deer overall, that your villagers are able to carry a lot more food there. With wheelbarrow combined, you are still going to be fine, even if they're spread apart a little bit further.
And you can see that attempting to happen here. Lucifron actually arriving in time to keep them a little bit closer together, or at least about 5 of them, close together. We only have 1 or 2 that are actually able to get that one close in as well. So really only 1 that was pushed up quite far away.
Yeah, still overall definitely doable with that deer spot. This one deer, though, it's a nirvana.
Oh. But now the feudal ages have finished up for all these players. Second pit mine gonna end up going on the teammates gold. So there is the answer. It's like, no, yeah, he understood he cannot move out for a secondary pit mine that's up front and forward, but one that's close to his teammates TC, now that's possible.
We just saw a tech coming in from the mill over on Lucifron's side, so I wonder what that's going to be. Either it's going to be wheelbarrow or it's going to be pro scouts, if we can just select that. It is going to be pro scouts, so we will see the Ron player pro scouting here in this one. B at the same time also queuing up additional scouts, so will likely just be a pro scout on pro scout type situation here.
Yep, it is indeed. So delaying the French Knights, and JD is going to have the Knight number, as B has been pumping out his scouts. He wants to secure as many deer as fast as possible. And the key here is not really the deer on his side. The key is the contested packs in the middle. If you're able to deny your opponents and secure some for yourself, it's just so huge. But speaking of denial, Barbican, hello, spears are forced. He's going to have spears, and then he's going to go back out.
Yeah, he can't immediately build it up. Didn't want to cancel it either. It's already been built halfway, so would lose a lot of time. B even gifting some deer over to his ally here. Supervision coming in on that barracks, so we're going to have a lot of spearmen coming out here very, very quickly for Anatund, and he'll be able to get those nasty horses away from his Barbican. Get that up as soon as possible now.
It's crazy. Even with that delay, we're gonna see Song Dynasty still at like 6 minutes. Like, obviously nothing crazy, but I still remember the old days where a Song Dynasty build at 6 minutes used to be, feel great out there. Not some of the craziest metas that we've had though.
Yeah, I mean, players, there's always potential to improve as time goes on, right? Like, you start min-maxing build orders more and more, and that's when we can get some really, really insane timings in. And look at that, Vortex double mill right now. He's gonna go for a hard cow boom now.
Yeah, he's ready to pump those cows up fast. No production building in sight for him yet. Meanwhile, Anatan's been pumping those spears, and B has the knight, so they're gonna have more than just the knight on knight battle to worry about.
Single knight as well from Lucifron roaming around the backside. Right now, B looks like he's gonna pull ahead in knight count. It is still very much neck and neck. As the French, because you get more villagers in, throughout the game, you should be able to pull ahead in knight numbers to a certain degree. Lucifron with Jean is able to consecrate buildings. I don't think there's consecration stack in yet. Yeah, there's no consecration stack in yet. So once that comes in, suddenly Jean is going to be favored when it comes to massing knights.
Yeah, it's kind of this bouncing back and forth. Both French and JD have their own, respective bonuses themselves. But right now, it's going to be all about this deer fairing. Who is going to get secure of those middle packs? Spear gets fed on over to JD. Happy to secure some of that. And the knight looks like it got taken down right there, right as we glanced on away. So Lucifron loses a royal knight.
Yeah, now B with the French is going to start pulling ahead, and he could force Lucifron off the gold now.
Force him off the gold. Force another knight fight. Although, be able to... Oh my gosh. JD almost snipes down that lower health knight. Knight charge there.
Gets the charge in.
3DB was a step away from tanking the charge with his knight, but Lucifron able to micro and able to take down the knight just in time, getting chivalry in himself as well.
Yeah, definitely want to be able to get those knights back to full health here, as there are a lot of really beat up knights at the moment for him. You can see the economy behind all of this, so scaling up a lot for B and Anatan. Anatan with the Song Dynasty, and B with just being French. At the same time, though, Cows pointing out, there are cattle, there are cows. Not just in the production room, but also in-game.
Yeah, exactly. A scout does get taken out, but we saw how much Vortex was investing into that cow boom. He was delaying production. He was delaying military. Well, now we can see he's starting to produce military, which means I wouldn't be surprised if we hovered over. We see about 12 cows in ranches at this point. Oh my gosh, more than 12. Oh no.
Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. Once the age up comes in, and Vortex is working towards it right now.
Yeah, this is very, very scary now for Team 3 DEDA. Like, Molly, when they get to castle with that many cows, it just feels like that nonstop onslaught, that stream of units across the map, that when you're on these finite resources that is food, you will get to this point where you run out of those deer that you ferried on home. You run out of your initial berries. You run out of safe food locations, and then you cannot match the military numbers.
I'm wondering what units Vortex is going to make once he ages up. Like, currently, with the army composition, just Donzos could be completely fine for him. We are seeing some archery ranges getting dropped, but yeah, archery ranges and more barracks. That's going to be the correct call here.
And the age up is on the way. Grand Philonic Corral has been started. Bunch of Donzos sitting on the gold vein. B wants to do some damage, but it's never fun diving into the Donzo mass, although B would win that fight. It's just at what cost here, deciding that he does not want to take it. Oh, there it is. He wants to take it, but pulls back the lower health knight, denies some gold for the time being. Not sure if he spots the age up yet. Yeah, he doesn't. Clearly doesn't.
Just a little bit longer, and then it's going to get revealed with the age up coming through behind this Vortex. Now actually massing some javelins. There hasn't really been a sign at all yet for archers or Jugenu from either of these players, so a little bit questionable. They're probably not going to do a lot immediately. In mass, they can do effective damage even against knights, but the mass isn't there yet. But he's going to get the mass going. He's got a lot of cattle. He's got the cow landmark. He is now going to get an additional 1,000 food per minute just passively throughout this game. He just needs to stay alive in order to achieve that mass.
Yeah, but speaking of mass, Anatan has 34 spears, and he is dropping his Castle Age landmark now, or should be dropping his Castle Age landmark now, has the resources to do so. There it is, Imperial Palace on the way, and he's also sitting on 2 TC Song, so he is going to have a boomed up economy here in a little bit, and they're going to have a lot of vision there with the Imperial Palace.
Oh, some villagers getting pinched there underneath the TC. Couple of Vil kills. He secures himself an even further economic lead. And Imperial Palace, not just is he on 2 TC Song, the Imperial Palace is also just going to provide him with so much vision now over the map, and you're going to know exactly where your enemy's villagers are.
Yeah, exactly what they're doing. If there was any, secondary TC attempt, if there's any, straggler vills going out to gold, going out to, other resources. But now we can actually see B getting a little bit exposed with where his army positioning is with that knight group. A little bit caught out here. Donzos have circled. He's actually running through the Donzo mass. Lucifron splits up a group of those knights, but B also has a split up group of knights doing some raiding.
Yeah, but now he really has to run. They're already a lot behind when it comes to the villager count. This isn't looking that great for them. B losing a lot of knights here. Potentially more knights going to go down now as Lucifron closes in from the other side. Cheekily, one knight gets pulled away. Does distract the other army.
Able to escape with about 4 knights or so out of that mass. And here comes Anatan with his spear mass. But at this point, Vortex, he's been able to equalize that number with his own archers, with his own Donzos here.
And Jean could get to level 3 relatively soon now. We're already 13 minutes into the game. Jean, more than halfway across now.
And there's Guildhall. Lucifron dropping the Guildhall, not even feeling the need to go greedy with Royal Institute, feeling the need, or I guess greedy is Guildhall, because Royal Institute's more of that game ender, but Guildhall's that later game play. Could feel this game potentially extending, but they have this mass, they have this timing, and KQP is looking scary.
Yeah, it's just a lot of quality on these units right now. Not something that Anatan and B can really match up to right now. 16 archers are going to be perfectly fine with dealing against 30 spearmen. They're all veterancy as well, and poison arrows is coming in.
A few more spears going to get sniped out during this. Anatan, he started to transition into that crossbow mass, but this mass from Anatan just gets full sniped out. Well, everything gets full sniped out by poison archers from Vortex. So Vortex just needs to pump up those poison archer numbers, and he will be fine to A move.
Yeah, Shugenua going to be needed instead. Now we're seeing some Palace Guards coming in, but once the veterancy hits on those Royal Knights, the Palace Guards aren't really going to be able to provide a lot here in this one. And this, it looks like Kosas and Pasan, they're able to get a comeback now up on the scoreboard, potentially, if nothing changes here within the next couple of moments. Mind you, Anatan and B, they still have a significant villager lead. What they don't have, though, is a farm transition. Speaking of farm transitions, that's probably something that Vortex and Lucifron want to do at some point. I mean, we just looked at how few villagers Vortex has on food. Then we looked at the actual income. Cattle are pretty good.
Yeah, cattle are very good. That's where the numbers do not tell the full story. Anatan does have a huge eco behind this. Just needs a little bit more time to continue massing on up. Time that they may not have. Vortex Lucifron getting ready to dive the base of B.
Level up. Level up comes in. Level 3.
Yep. Level 3 has come through. Anatan taking the fight. Crossbows, though, not getting focused on out. Knight numbers starting to slowly thin. But remember, B does not have an extra technology that Lucifron does. Lucifron is an age up with those knights. But 3DB and Anatan seem to be defending.
Yeah, able to hold here. And that was pretty clutch at that point in time. They do still have that economic lead. So if they're able to keep holding for the time being, they're going to pull ahead more and more. They're going out to the outer resource right now, though. If Kosas and Pasan starts circling around the space, it could get very dangerous for them.
Yeah, B somehow has 9 more knights than Lucifron after those fights. They've been very, trading back and forth here, but we just saw how many of those villagers moved out. Lucifron has an idea, but this might give B and Anatan the knowledge. You can see the villagers starting to run. There's so many villagers running here. Knights closing the gap. There will be some losses here. Army's going to try to reposition from B and Anatan to not lose too many.
Oh, the army is coming in now. Looks like Anatan and B are going to be able to save the majority of the villagers there. only like 2 or 3 went down there. So overall, not bad losses for Anatan and B, considering they already have a major economic advantage. And now mass walls are coming up.
I love this reaction from Anatan. He's like, all right, you know what? The way that we lose this game now is walls, because he's feeling good. He knows he has a huge villager lead because he's been on 2TC Song. He has the extra economy to be able to sacrifice some eco for some walls. Not only walls, he's going to try to secure this location up with a keep, but Lucifron and Vortex, they're about to be ready to take this fight again. Villagers, they're going to commit to this keep. They're going to continue fighting, and B is still feudal age, and Anatan crossbows are going to be the key during this fight. Does he have enough here? Lucifron and Vortex falling back.
Yeah, with the keep up now in the front, that's not necessarily a fight that you want to take it. What is B doing here? The scout, the pro scout, goes through the base. With Vortex there.
He's just showing off a little bit. He's like, look, these deer are mine. We got a little bit of some mismatched walls over here from B and Anatan, but they know they need to wall up their base. They've seen it at this point. Lucifron trying to get some damage into B's economy, but just doesn't find anything. Can't find the vills and doesn't want to overstep, as they know another army is coming from B and Anatan. Numbers, though, heavily favoring the Spanish brothers. Not only numbers, B is still sitting in feudal as well.
Yeah, this is going to start getting really, really dangerous. This army mass from Vortex, it just is unparalleled at the moment. There's only 20 crossbows, no more spearmen remaining for Anatan. They can't hold this. If they just commit now, they can't hold this. And look at the reinforcements streaming across the map. That is a huge army coming in.
Yeah, this is what we talked about with Mali earlier on. It's like, yeah, at first they're going to have a ton of food income. They're going to continue this onslaught, but it gets to this point where the deer, where the berries start running out, and Anatan hasn't been able to make that granary transition he needs. He has nothing in military production. Meanwhile, Vortex is non-stop producing units. Now French farms being idled, French TC being idled. This is looking good for KQP, looking like they are going to tie this series on up and put it into a match point game number 5.
Vulture is trying to run away for B, getting picked off though one by one by the javelin throws. And he's gotten 3 relics, but the granary transition, as I said, it's only just now coming up there in the north, but it's not going to be in time. They don't have any food in the bank. Meanwhile, Vortex and Lucifron, they still have more resource to spend on troops, and that they will, and units just continue to stream across the map.
Yeah, Anatan, he does have more villagers than Vortex and Lucifron combined, but it doesn't make up for cows. It doesn't make up for idled eco. It doesn't make up for moving out and around all the production that you're losing. You can see the income per minute is just vastly, vastly different here. And Team 3 DEDA, it is all on Anatan to try to hold. B has been stuck in feudal for quite some time.
Oh, and now they found the relics. Taking down that monastery, that's minus 240 gold for Anatan.
Oh, there's a scout just sitting here watching these villagers run around on the backside.
They're here, get him.
Lucifron sends a few more knights that way, sends a few more knights to kill some of B's reinforcement knights, and I mean, this just feels like the beginning of the end.
Lucifron now has more knights, and now there are 2 keeps here on this side, but you can't, like, sure, if the landmarks from 1 player goes down, you're still in it. But if the landmarks from 2 players go down, then you're out. And it looks like Kosas and Pasan, they're in a good spot to just take them all down.
They could probably just burn the rest of those landmarks on down. B and Anatan trying to evacuate the original bases, move towards the middle of the mass, move towards where those big wood lines are. You can see B's dropping another TC over there behind those 2 keeps. But it's not the eco that matters right now. It's the military. They have nothing to stop this mass. 2 Nest of Bees is not enough. Lucifron diving with his knights, just feeding XP to JD, and all of the Mali onslaught. 125 units here from Vortex.
It is just so much military. Nothing that you can do now at this point in time, as the flood of units doesn't stop and you're getting completely overwhelmed. The army from Anatan disappearing in the blink of an eye. B's army nowhere to be found now, still in feudal age, and Lucifron on 24 knights streaming across now, able to get onto the economy now as a follow-up that's behind the palisade walls.
Yeah, being Anatan might be almost doubling the eco of Vortex and Lucifron, but Vortex and Lucifron have 150 military units out. They're burning down the landmarks, and there are not many landmarks left. I think it's just the Imperial Academy, Imperial Palace, and TC all inside of each other.
The School of Cavalry is still up. That's where the units from Lucifron are going right now. Yeah, they're just going for a landmark snipe now.
They've seen it. They know they can end it here now.
Contended they will. We're getting another tied-up series. Once again, Vortex and Lucifron, B and Anatan. We're going to have a grand decider matchup between these two.
Bees dropped another TC. Little do they know, they don't have much time left. They need Anatan to try to build another Chinese landmark out on that outside before the rest of them go down here. TC's gone down. Imperial Academy and Imperial Palace are soon to follow. The School of Cavalry just now getting put on fire as well. And JD is level 4.
Do you just sling Anatan in order to get Song Yuan Dynasty in the back there as well? It's not covering it in time. Imperial Palace about to go down.
I think that would have been the idea, is try to just rush up a landmark, but it is all over. Game number 4 has been decided. Spanish Bros take it down with that Molly JD onslaught.
So a game number 5, it will be the first set of our final day of Winter Team Championship 2, and it's delivering. First one immediately, a 5-game set.
And you can see resources gathered. It actually did end up favoring 3D by the end of it, but that's because the military just was able to stay together from KQP, take efficient trades. You saw 100 plus units just taking down 40, 50, 60 and not really having many losses. So the lack of resources gathered didn't matter much, as well as, a lot of those resources went to extra villagers that just died.
The economic count here. I mean, yeah, Anatan, the villager count just kind of explode there with the Song Dynasty 2 TC. Something that explode as well, though. Military count over on Kosas Pasan, man. That Malian economy, it is not something to joke about. Sure, you're 2 TC, sure, you're 2 TC Song, but does it truly matter when your opponent has cattle?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's only a few civs that can do that like Mali does, and it's few and far between. We saw Vortex with like 50 eco and 125 military later stages of this game, and he's just easily able to actually support that too with that little of an economy.
Yeah, Archers here also doing such a good spot, and even though Kosas Pasan is retreating here after this fight, they took a good trade, already diminished the spearman count by more than half. There were like 35 spearmen here at the beginning of this fight. Now it's left over with just 15, and there's only one player here at the end of it that's going to have an easy time when it comes to remassing his army. Here we can see the final fight, 161 military units compared to 58 on the other side. It's just
130 or Vortex. Like, what? Oh my gosh, that's absolutely wild. And you can see 2 nests of bees. That's not enough. I think he needed more like 8 during this fight.
2 nests of bees and a dream.
But now, final map left over was Cliffside. This is also cool when you get to the final game of the series, because not as many civs left over, not as many options left in your wheelhouse. Although obviously at this point in time, all these players, they can play all the civs, but they might not like to play all the civs.
Definitely. Players always have favorites when it comes to their civilizations. I rarely see Vortex or Lucifron play China, and when I do see them, it tends to be very interesting to see their interpretation of what Chinese is supposed to do. This time, though, we're going to be seeing French and Byzantines coming out from Kosas Pasan. On the other hand side, Mongols and Ayubids. I'm not sure which one I prefer more here. I actually kind of tend towards 3 DEDAs here when it comes to the matchup, specifically against who they're playing.
I was about to say, at first, I'm like, oh my gosh, French and Biz at the end here, really, really strong matchup for a land map. Very, good combo together, can put in a lot of aggression. Biz can play their own game, whether it's the feudal age, whether it's a ton of olive groves, whether it's fast castling as well. But it feels like Team 3 DEDA, their Civ combo just counters it act perfectly. You get Mongols with their Tower Rush. You have a Ubids that can play their timings with the Fast Castle Camel Lancer play and grab up all the relics, and also, you know, have those dervishes to heal, secure all the different things. So I really feel like 3 DEDA has a good Civ combo to counteract what KQP does.
Yeah, I agree. I see a couple of people saying big gulps or gulps in chat. You don't want to go gulp when you already have a cavalry player in your team, so you can't really combine that with the French here. Instead, we're probably just going to see a more classic Byzantines with longbows. If we see gulp here, I don't think it's going to work out for them.
I mean, it's French Knights and double gulp, and then, you know, Keshiks and Camel Lancers on the other side. We'll see how it goes. You know, if it's that all cav play, but I don't think that's what we're going to end up seeing. I think that you'll also be forced back, whether the outpost rush go, because I would expect a good old tower rush. I don't know if it'll go for French or whether it'll go for, you know, potentially Byzantines berry / gold as well.
Yeah, I think going over to the Byzantines probably makes the most amount of sense. They can have the most explosive growth when it comes to the mercenaries. That's really what you want to deny. On the other hand side, being able to deny knights as well can feel really good, but you already have a way of dealing with the knights with the Desert Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. You got a lot of different options in your wheelhouse, in your quiver over there. But enough of talking about it. Let's get into this game number 5, decisive game here.
All right, game number 5, grand decider here in our first semi-final of the final weekend of the Winter Team Championship between Kosas and Pasan, consisting of Vortex and Lucifron, and the 3 DEDAs, B, Annotant, and Cat. We're here on Cliffside, and we immediately see Annotant with the Khan moving right across the map. He wants to get that Falcon in his opponent's base to know exactly where his resources are.
And speaking of where his resources are, I think Anatan's going to be happy to see this, happy to see the Cliffside gold. Oh, front and forward. He's like, all right, sweet, great. That being said, there is a back gold mine for Lucifron. It's not behind his base, but it's down to that southern side. And while it could easily be focused next from Anatan, it still does give Lucifron a potential spot to alleviate himself, but also can make the long trek and try to go over to his good old buddy's teammates' gold at the top.
Yeah, speaking of which, Vortex, his gold, it's very, very safe, very far in the back of his base. Players are going to have to they're going to have to really tank up the gas if they want to go all the way to the back of a space there in order to attack that gold. Also, very good berry spawns. It would be incredibly greedy. But it is possible that Vortex puts his...
No, in between the berry.
He should.
No.
Yeah, he should. That's crazy, right?
Unless... But yeah, Vortex does have a very safe base, and it's not only where the gold's located, it's also where his wood lines are located. It makes it to where the pathing for the spears have to make a long walk around either side of the wood lines, whether they want to go to the north or south side. And then he can always drop a short wall next to that other wood line on the back and make it to where there's no pathing through.
Exactly, and there we go. Age up happening. Okay, so it's going to be the conservative Grand Winery, not the insane one that we theorized there earlier.
He could have had it, though. He could have had it. Gold still being gathered from Lucifron. He wants to gather. You can see he's kind of trying to overgather gold here a little bit. Wants to have enough for either an economic upgrade or first knight, I would say. Usually you like to at least get one knight on the map, start to do some Roman, and then kind of counteract the tower rush however you see fit.
Yeah, tower now going up. Spearman coming in. Oh, okay, that was really great. So he repaired the mining camp before he deleted it. That way, there is no way that it's going to get the bounty. He's missing 4 gold.
4 gold, but that'll be
All
2
right,
tabs
we're
from each villager.
We're going back, fellas. We want to get the gold. There we go. Gathered it up. Now we can go home. Gathering a little bit more gold, so either he just wants to get the full drop-off, or maybe it's for wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Or it's, I mean, either way, it's like, hey, look, you know, we got some extra gold. We're gonna need gold later on, but has 112. So let's see what his decision will be with that little bit of gold he was able to gather.
Age up not quite through yet. Outpost about to be finalized. Now double production batch of spearmen, so he's gonna be able to fully kit that outpost out. Anatont also went off of wood, so there's probably not going to be another outpost around the other side of the wood line coming in. He is just going to retreat now after that, and looks like we did get the... No, wait, what? No, what? That's not double dervish, that's advancement wing.
Did he go advancement? I feel like this is too late for an advancement wing play,
No,
right?
he went advancement. He got age up in before 4 minutes. That is...
Oh, okay,
100%
yeah.
advancement.
Okay.
Why though? And he's doing that in order to get an additional scout. Is this Ayubit Advancement Wing Pro Scouts that we're seeing here? It is. That's crazy.
Only
That's crazy.
3DV. Only 3DV is going to be doing stuff like this here.
Oh my god.
I'm so confused. This is like, what?
Yeah.
All right.
A little bit unorthodox coming in here from 3DV. Outpost did go up from Lucifron, so he has managed to secure himself another gold mine there.
Yeah, and this is the exact kind of play that I was expecting from him. We talked about him having that back gold. It's like, all right, able to just react correctly, go drop an outpost, secure up the gold vein. Now he has that initial knight Roman out and about as well.
Yeah, behind this, Deerstone's coming in for Anaton, so he's going to have a nice boost to mobility for all of his villagers. That's going to also give his economy a very good production boost here. A lot more income from those villagers, especially on the wood line. Khan, going to be a little bit annoying here on the gold over from Vortex, but Vortex, he already has enough oil at this point, I believe, in order to start getting some mercenaries out. So Limit Knight and mercenaries, that's usually the kind of composition that you want to see from Byzantines. I'm guessing it's going to be longbows. I would be very thoroughly surprised if we saw something like javelin throwers in a team game.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I would really expect javelin throwers is if certain civ matchups that you're going against. And with the Ubids, while javelin throwers feel, pretty decently okay against Desert Raiders, it still is just not enough of a reasoning to go into them.
Yeah.
And it is longbows.
And we are seeing a lot of Desert Raiders now probably coming in for B. I'm still just very surprised from B's build order here so far. And I'm intrigued at the same time. I want to see how good this is going to be, or if it's actually going to be any good at all in the first place.
He might have that one scout just securing up deer for Anatan as well. So I love this team play aspect. It's not only going to boost his own eco, he's going to be boosting up Anatan's food eco as well. Makes it to where Anatan might not have to, drop some early pastures. He's also on deer instead of sheep, instead of berries. Night raid from Lucifron, able to secure up a village. Oh,
no,
never mind.
Doesn't get it.
Jumps inside the outpost just in time. Goes over to the wood line. Will take a little bit of return fire damage, but no actual kills. Just idle time there forced by Lucifron.
Idle time coming in for sure, but not a lot, and he's going to easily be able to recover from that. Unit-wise, I'm a little bit scared because longbows, they're just able to deal so well against the Desert Raiders overall.
Yep. Knight's trying to dive in on that Desert Raider, get some extra damage in, but now we're at the point where Feudal Ages have kind of, finished on up now for a good little bit. We're starting to see what the strategies have been, and we're obviously seeing a strategy that no one could have. You could have given me 30 guesses, and I never would have guessed Pro Scouts a Ubid is what B decided to come up with.
It is kind of crazy, the advancement wing with Pro Scouts. That's not something we would typically anticipate at all. At the same time, like Lucifron, he didn't go for Pro Scout this game. So food could eventually run out for these players out on the map, and they might not even have the option of going on to deer if they've just all been taken at that point in time.
Yeah, initial berries just ran out for our Byzantine player. We know that Byzantines, they don't complain too much if they, just have to go on to their initial berries and maybe, like we see here, a second berries. But usually they are fine with the big olive grove transition. French, however, they want all the deer on the map. They want to be able to move out for those pocket resources and not have to make a farm transition.
Seeing a mass Keshik play right now from Anatan. He's got 7 out already, but now his Ubu is going to be under attack. And, I mean, sure, Keshiks are great against the longbows. There are 14 Limit Knight out there as well, though, and 5 Royal Knights. That's not a fight that you can really take, not yourself, nor with the 8 Desert Raiders, I want to say.
Yep. We see some buildings trying to be evacuated next to that Uvu, but Uvu does fall. There is another stone next to his TC not too far away that he might be able to just move on out to and drop another Uvu.
This is gonna be interesting. As soon as we're gonna see this fight, like with the mass desert raiders, oh man, you gotta be so careful with these guys. They are not cheap. 180 resources each, and now Goldmine's gonna have to get evacuated by B.
Yep. Anatan going for a raid on that French gold that he knows Lucifron went out to. There's more villagers here than outpost spots. Great raid here from Anatan. Late reaction from Lucifron as well. So 1, 2, 3 villagers falling, but at the same time, they have other problems that DEDA needs to worry about. Vortex dropping rams. Lucifron and Vortex both burning down as stables that's pumping out Desert Raiders, but they're having their own outposts getting burnt down.
Yeah, Siphon now coming in as well, so that's gonna be an immediate hard aggression here on the infrastructure from 3DB. And I mean, sure, like, this isn't as bad because you're actually getting fire armor against the Siphon, but the bonus damage kind of makes up for it, so 2 volleys of the fire attack and the outpost gonna go down.
And we saw almost all of those villagers from Lucifron get taken down. He was able to escape with 2 of those. Another return raid, this time from Desert Raiders from 3DB, able to take out 3 villagers on the Byzantine Berries, burning down an outpost there as well. And they're fine. They're just saying, burn down the House of Wisdom. That thing is tanky as could be. We got plenty of time to let this play out. Your eco's starting to get hurt. We're still massing up more military behind this, just waiting for their timing to make this hold.
Yeah, what's also really interesting behind this is that they killed a lot of villagers here. Earlier, Vortex and Lucifron, they had a sizable eco lead of 3-4 villagers due to having the French bonus. Vortex has lost more than 13 villagers.
Yeah, we're seeing Keshik raids everywhere, circling the woodlines, hitting the gold. Villagers, there's not enough room into the TC, dives the olive groves, and just staying under the TC fire, fine with taking this fight. Vortex pulled out of the TC early, didn't jump inside with all 15, so even more damage going down. He's down to 19 economy.
This is devastating here. DEDA is looking absolutely insane here so far. Still, eventually, they're gonna have to deal with this aggression that is coming out from Vortex in the base from B, but Anatan even sending some gold over to B as he didn't have gold in order to keep making any Desert Raiders. There's still 9 Desert Raiders alive, some archers now as well. They are starting to get to that mass where they're able to take that army down.
Yeah, I feel like, and their army's the mobile army, so they've been pushed forward. They're trying to make Lucifron and Vortex pull back, react to the masses in their base, or else more and more villagers are going to go down, and then continue to mass up, wait and take this fight when both armies are together, and it looks like they're about to do that, just not overstepping, not taking the fight before they need to.
More gold getting traded over. Yeah, Anatan, he's got a lot of villagers on gold right now. Oh, Desert Raiders need to be careful, though. Getting pinched there by the army from Vortex and Lucifron. Grades are coming in, and B suddenly massed up a lot of archers now behind this. Siphons with the military, though. You've got to be careful if your units are stuck between the fire and the Siphon. You're going to be in for a bad time.
I have seen so many villagers, so many spears, archers just run through the fire and get torched on down. Speaking of torches, the houses are starting to fall now. More deer still getting brought on back. But B and Anatan have taken the military number lead. When are they going to decide to try to hold this? There are the Keshiks circling back around. Looks like now's the time. DEDA says it is time for us to hold, circle down one of the knights.
As well. Back. I mean, right now they don't need to take the fight. As long as it's not imminent that they need to take the fight or else they'll lose the game. They don't want to take a fight. They want to wait. They want to let this economic advantage that they've managed to gain for themselves manifest. So the longer the wait, the better it's going to be for them.
Yeah, they know how much damage they had just done to Vortex. He lost so many villagers. Just give more and more time means that's less units that Vortex is going to be able to mass up. That's more units that they're going to be able to win this fight with. And it looks like the Spanish bros are making the swap, maybe trying to circle back around and go towards Anatan's base.
Yeah, immediately military from B and Anaton shifts towards the base of Anaton now in order to try and defend that. Same time, Desert Raiders going into melee formation now as well. Able to do good damage now in the melee formation. Look at that, longbows. Sure, they're really good as a backline against the Desert Raiders, but if they're alone, they're getting picked apart.
Yep, and that
It's only 10 longbows remaining.
Yep, little longbow mass got cleaned on up. TC of Anatan's getting dove upon, but the Knights just running through, tanking some damage, not able to find any success. Meanwhile, yet again, Lucifron getting gold denied. Anatan just constantly circling back with Keshix, denying, delaying gold. Lucifron's been having to move out on back food resources now, so this is when his economy gets very, very vulnerable, even more vulnerable than it's already been.
We're seeing Vortex now investing a lot into these olive groves. That's a really, really good food source for him, as he's also getting a lot of olive oil from that. Hasn't moved out onto any berries anymore, which in theory will give you even more olive oil. Man, this is looking really, really tough right now. Still, I want to say 4-3 Deaders when it comes to the military count, just because Lucifron has been able to keep his knights alive for such a long time, and we're up to 24 knights, 25 Keshiks. The knights are still a great deal better than the Keshiks.
Yes, they are indeed. Looks like B maybe going to drop some more deer off over at Anatan's base. He's just constantly been ferrying these deer across the map. And as this game continues to extend, that is just mattering more and more and more. Safe eco and stronger eco because they're gathering deer.
The gold here, at some point, yeah, it's not going to last for a long time. Yeah, he needs an outpost for every 5 villagers that he's putting up there.
And he's going with a third outpost, but there's only going to be about 500 or less gold there by the time he finishes it. Villagers jump in a little late.
Yoink, one of them did get sniped there.
And now we're at the point where that military count is starting to show. The economic difference was there for a good little bit. Anatan and B, they've been able to climb their military lead up now to about 25.
Villagers doing a little bit of a dance around there next to the House of Wisdom. B wants to repair the House of Wisdom. He just got it up repaired. I think he immediately aged up. Now Royal Institute coming in as well for Lucifron. Man, Royal Institute, if that comes through with 26 knights, like anything could still happen in this game. Absolutely anything.
Yes, indeed. But speaking of anything still happening, they look like Team 3 DEDA wants to dive the base of Vortex yet again. And they said keep kicking him while he's down. He took a lot of damage earlier. He's going to take even more damage again, at least have more idle time. And the Keshiks and Desert Raiders can just run on through.
Age up has come through now for Lucifron behind this. Can we take a look at B, see how far his age up is looking right now? I think he went for the age up. Cruelty coming in behind this now for Anaton. No age up actually. Instead, he slung resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, he slung resource over to Anaton, so Anaton gets the age up in with the Cruelty. Cruelty does not only affect your own units, but also those of your ally.
And also, he has so many Keshiks. Yeah, they might not be Royal Knights. Yeah, they might not be able to get Royal Bloodlines, but Keshiks get so much more effective in Castle Age compared to Feudal, especially when it comes to tank and TC fire or Archer fire.
Yeah, not just that, but I think it's mainly about the Archers getting the damage upgraded as well. Oh my god, huge raid! Is it gonna be enough?
Oh my god.
I'm still scared.
15 bills?
I'm still very much scared here because these knights look scary.
And they're headed to the base now.
Raids.
Great raids. Needs to make sure to hit any reinforcing mass. Make sure that Lucifron is not going to get any more knights on over to that side. TC about to start getting dove. B, he's about to take a lot of damage. Just as much damage that Anatan was just able to cause on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to have to really like hurry on over there now. Like B needs to get his villagers out of there ASAP. These spearmen, Lucifron's just going to take the fight. He doesn't care. He's got the mass. His knights have 310 health with Royal Bloodlines.
Yep, Keshiks need to get here as fast as possible. Royal Bloodlines has not been clicked up. That's so devastating to have missed, and there's the Keshik mass, or at least some of them can at least hold for a little bit, be that front line for the archers. Doesn't look like Vortex's army is all here yet.
It's not
And
the
they're on
Midnight
the
Army
way,
just
they're
now coming
running.
in. Where's the Kurultai? Kurultai's unpacking.
Kurultai's unpacking, and the rest of Anatan's mass is almost here. This is going to be the key factor. This is when 3 DEDA is going to take the fight. All that B needs to do is thin out the spear mass, thin out the Limitane mass, and Anatan's taking it. Here we go.
Great fighters coming in. I don't think there's +2 pierce armor as well, so these archers with the Kurultai buff should be able to do great damage. And the army is getting completely ripe. No royal bloodlines in, and all the royal knights are going down. Archer mass significantly reduced for B. By the end of the day, it is going to be 3 DEDAs with more than double the military. And GG gets called. It's 3 DEDAs that are going to go through to the final against Kosas and Pasan.
Just too many Keshiks with the Kurultai, with the healing. Great timing defense, great raids behind all of that, all of the damage that they were taking, and able to hold on for long enough. 3 DEDA takes it 3-2.
Absolutely crazy game here. Now, the military value lead, it looks a little bit deceiving. I don't think oil units really count into that into that metric there. They are a little bit bugged sometimes, but man, this army value lead here, it doesn't really tell the whole picture because there was a window, there was an opportunity. Lots of raids going in. We can tell by the eco loss graph here. Vortex losing 25 villagers, Lucifron losing 24 villagers. And at the end, it still looked close. If only Royal Bloodlines would have come in as well in time. I feel like that fight could have gone so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy series to watch. And think about that. That's after KQP just took down what I would say was the potential favorites of the tournament. And now KQP gets taken down 3-2 by Team 3 DEDA. And what a fun series. I always love watching the raids go down, all the craziness that happened during it.
Oof, and who could have really painted this type of picture, right? You know, going into the playoffs, boys, you know, we had Spaniards kind of questionable, then outperforming. Now we have 3 DEDA turning up on a whole new level. It really just flips the table at the end of 2024, Crackety. You know, going into this tournament, a lot of high expectations. Marine Lord, Beastie, return of Vortex, loser from back all of a sudden. But instead, it seems we're painting a picture of the new guard here. Yes, we've still got the Canadians in contention, but when you look at the remaining 6 players, oh, well, more than that, right, when you consider the whole team, when you look at the final players left in this, it's not really the usual suspects.
Indeed, it isn't. I mean, this was already such an insane set that we had. And even yesterday, we had Kosake Pasan winning against the Chimps, and those were players, Marino and Beastie, that we absolutely expected to be seeing in the finals here, getting taken down in a phenomenal set. And now, once again, 3 DEDAs getting the win against Kosake Pasan. Once again, an incredibly close set, 5 games in both of those sets that we had here so far. This has been absolutely amazing to watch.
I mean, it's been a pleasure, right? You know, 2v2 has proven they actually can deliver some firm entertainment. I think Dabston is quite interesting as well, is for a game mode that historically has been build 1 unit and 1 unit only. We may see a decent amount of that, but it's pretty impressive the amount of unit diversity we're getting now as these games go on.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when you have that build 1 unit and 1 unit only, it gets thrown right down the drain when both armies start attacking in between your bases, and then you can't attack together. Then your archers feel worthless because they get dove by horsemen. So a lot of times you are forced onto some other units, but also a lot of the civilizations now have some different units, some hybrid units such as Desert Raiders that can really be effective in these team games, almost even more effective in these team games.
I mean, I'm getting a funny, sneaking feeling, actually, those particular Desert Raiders might be a point of contention in the next series, Crackety, considering what we know Elephant and the Canadians like to pick. It's almost feels like it's going to be the highly coveted pick for the second series of the day.
Yeah, Team Elephant, Louis, and CSO, they've been like the prime, I want to say, inventors when it comes to the usage of Desert Raiders exclusively in some of these games, in this current meta as well. Like, making only Desert Raiders in the late game, being able to stack so many upgrades on them. You get infantry support, you get the double, triple not blacksmith, the triple university upgrades on them as well. You're getting benefits from your golden age. all of a sudden, a unit that, in theory, is meant to do one thing and one thing only, counter cavalry, suddenly it does it all.
Yeah, definitely. It makes you wonder if maybe a little bit overtuned later in the game, Dabston. Admittedly, we haven't really had a game of Ibids that has gone deep enough to prove that fact, but there might be hope. I mean, it's interesting to think about here, right? Because Free Dead are being in the grand finals, we've seen the pace, the urgency they play with, but you have to argue, is that partially due to KQP? The other side of the bracket, in fairness, is filled with teams that thrive, I'd say, more in the later phases of the game.